Well, good evening. I'm Mary Ann Edwards, Temecula's mayor, and welcome to our city council meeting on this January the 12th. So we're going to get started right away. I'm going to have city manager Aaron Adams do the invocation, and that'll be followed by the flag salute. So if you are so inclined, please stand for the invocation and the flag salute.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Would you please bow your heads with me? Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I just come to you this evening with a heavy heart for our country, the events that unfolded on January 6th, Lord. We pray for all levels of government during these times, our federal government, our state government, and of course, our local government here. Lord, I pray for love. I pray for peace. I pray for healing for our country. Lord, I pray for 2021 and the year that is in front of us. I pray for this city council and the wisdom and the discernment and the tough decisions that need to be made over the course of the next 12 months. I pray for city staff, Lord, and their protection. I pray for police and fire and the first responders and our healthcare workers that we're acknowledging and discussing this evening, Lord, on the front line of this global pandemic. Lord, I pray for them. I lift them up. I ask these things, Lord, in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Aaron. So if you place your right hand over your heart, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And you may be seated. So again, we are here virtually, and I have colleagues upstairs and colleagues at home, and we just keep on keeping on.
Madam Mayor, I'm happy to
You can call
go
the
ahead
roll.
and call the roll at this time. Councilmember Alexander.
Here.
Mayor Edwards.
Here.
Councilmember Ron.
Here.
Councilmember Schwank.
I'm here.
Councilmember Stewart.
Here.
Thank you, everyone. So we're going to go right on to presentations and proclamations. You know, it's really difficult right now because we're all isolated, and we don't want to ignore still all of the good things and the wonderful people that live in Temecula and have done great things, giving of their time, their treasure, and their talent. So the first thing we're going to do is regarding the incoming and outgoing mayor and president of Community Services District. So
yes, Madam Mayor. So if we were here in person, this is the traditional time where the incoming outgoing mayor and the incoming outgoing TCSD president would exchange the gavels and the plaques. But given that we are in a virtual environment, we have provided those items to you in your offices. But we still thought it was important. As you can see, Councilmember Schwank is holding up his plaque. And Mayor Edwards is holding up her gavel. We still thought it important to note this important transition on the agenda, and we thank both the incoming and outgoing mayors and president of TCSD for their service last year and their anticipated service in the upcoming year.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, colleagues. It was a year for the history books, and we're not out of it yet. So we're just going to continue to work well together as team members for the greatest city in the United States. In fact, I think it's the greatest city on the planet. So our next is a presentation regarding years of service. And I can't believe, Mr. Garrio, I remember when you were just a babe. Years of service, Commissioner Ron Garrio and Eric Levine. Now, Ron Garrio and I served together on the Traffic Commission back in the Plesiosaurus age, and Eric Levine has done a fabulous job. He's been here 5 years, and it's gone really quickly, but it seems like he's always been here. So, gentlemen, thank you for everything you've done for the city. So, Ron, you want to go first?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. You and I go back further than that, back to the 80s in the Town Association. We had the tractor race, the rodeo, and the rod run. Met a lot of fabulous people there, a lot of fabulous future leaders, Peg Moore and Jimmy Moore, um, Pat Birdsall, Ron Parks, on and on it goes. And just been a real privilege to have been a very small part of the development of this city in many capacities over the years. My hat goes off to all the volunteers that I have met, hundreds and hundreds of them, whether it's the Chamber, Balloon and Wine Festival, service clubs we belong to. It's just amazing how many people come out. In times of crisis, this city rises up.
Yes.
And you can count on this city for help in any manner. This year, as past year, has been no different. This pandemic. And I have to agree that hats off to our frontline public safety and our hospital workers doing a fantastic job as always, even more so now. So thank you for the recognition. I have to give my hats off to my wife of 52 years who've stood by me and supported me in all this over the years. So thank you. And here's, you held up your gavel, I'll hold up the pen.
Yeah, good
Beautiful.
job.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful. You have made your service has made such a difference, and your handprints are everywhere all over the city, both in traffic infrastructure and in planning commission, which is virtually everything. So I think you've done a fantastic job, and I know that your long-term leadership and your knowledge, your historic knowledge of the city of Temecula and how we've come this far is invaluable. So I'm hoping that you'll kind of stick around and come and share with us every now and then. And you may get a phone call asking for, can you tell me what happened in 1927?
Oh, come on. 1947, but not 27.
We've had a lot of fun over the years.
It's been great.
And I thank you for everything. And I'm going to miss you.
Yeah. I get it. Am I leaving tonight? Is that it?
No. So thank you. Mr. Levine, it's too soon.
It's hard to believe it's been 5 years.
Yeah, I know it has. Time flies when you're having a great time, huh?
Absolutely. And it's really tough to follow somebody with a service record like Mr. Garrio. But I just have to say briefly, it's been my pleasure to serve, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, thank you. And Ron definitely is a legend, but if you stay until you're 94, then you'll be able to celebrate in the same way. No, but thank you for everything. People who aren't familiar with our commissions are invaluable for the city. They do a lot of legwork for us, and they get hands-on and close up with residents who have issues in the different areas, like community services and traffic and planning and the Old Town Local Review Board, and now the Ready Commission. So thank you. And I love serving on a commission. I think it's a great way to serve. So thank you. And thank your family.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mrs. Darlene Wetton runs one of the best hospitals in the country. And if you didn't know that, we could spit out award after award after award that would testify to that fact. So I think there are a lot of questions and a lot of fear in people's minds still. We know vaccines are coming. So tell us what's going on at Temecula Valley Hospital and what's going on with the vaccines. And Darlene, by the way, is the CEO of Temecula Valley Hospital.
Thank you, Mayor Edwards. Nice to see everyone, virtually at least. I'd like to share a little bit of information about certainly COVID-19 and what's happening at your community hospital. And feel free to ask me questions as we go, or we could ask questions at the end. So really, this community hospital is here for all of you, and that's our vision and our passion is to take care of the healthcare of this community. Next. So what's really important right now is that I would request of all of you to help us fight this battle and really practice what you're hearing from the public health departments. I will share that with all of you as well. Physical distancing, very important, limiting gatherings, wearing your mask and washing your hands frequently. And I say this on behalf of the healthcare workers at the hospital. The surge has gotten tremendously worse since the holidays. When I look back a month ago and we had single-digit number of COVID patients in the hospital, and now we're in the high 80s, just to give you an idea how much has happened in the last 30 days at the hospital. And really educate yourself on what's happening. Reach out to the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, Public Health Department. I've put their information, phone numbers up on the screen as well. But those are always good resources to look at what's happening, as opposed to relying on what's happening on social media or even in the news. One of the questions I often receive is, is that just happening in Los Angeles, or is that just happening in Texas? And at times that may have been true. That's not the case now. This is happening in your community here in Southwest Riverside County. We have a tremendous issue right now with COVID, with the hospitals being at overcapacity, the ICUs being full. So this is a very serious issue. And the only way we're going to address it is to work together and practice a safe distancing and the other things that are recommended to prevent the spread of the disease. Next. So let's talk a little bit about vaccination. It's one of the frequent questions that I receive. California adopted a 3-phased approach to the vaccination. And as many of you know, phase 1 included healthcare personnel, residents of intermediate and long-term care. So here at Temecula Valley Hospital, we received the vaccine. We both the Pfizer and the Moderna. And we received enough of the vaccine to vaccinate our physicians, our employees. The vaccines are a 2-phased approach, meaning that you receive the first vaccine and they'll, for example, like on the Pfizer, 3 weeks later, you receive a second dose. So very important as the vaccine begins to come out to the community and more groups are included, not to stop at the first one. And I think there's a lot of fear with the vaccine and a lot of misnomers. But if you stop at the first one, you're not going to get the coverage that you will get if you take both vaccines. So really important. You may get, 30 to 50% protection after the first one, but you want to get all the way up in the 90s. These vaccines are tremendous in the amount of protection they give you for COVID-19. So getting that second vaccination, about 3 weeks later, very, very important that you follow through and not be afraid of taking care of that second need. So who's in the next phase? The next phase of the vaccine release in California right now is identified for individuals that are 75 years or older, education and childcare providers, law enforcement personnel, and that's your fire, police, correctional officers, food and agriculture. This is a very large group, especially in our region, with the amount of agriculture we have here. And this includes all the grocery workers, postal workers, public transit workers, and those that are high risk for severe illness with underlying conditions. And that needs to be defined a little further as to what that exactly means. And what's on the screen is about all I know about that as well. So this next phase, as soon as the vaccine is released in our area, this will be a very large group, very important that you feel confident as you get the opportunity to participate. Next. So again, I strongly recommend you get the vaccine once it becomes available. It is safe and highly effective. Again, if you could get 95% coverage from any disease, that's tremendous. That's much stronger than any flu vaccine we've ever seen. Oftentimes with the flu vaccine, it could be 30 to 40% effective, much lower traditionally on the flu vaccine. So this is a tremendous opportunity to get that protection. We've given hundreds of doses at the hospital, no immediate side effects. Our team has been doing really well with getting the vaccine. And right now we're just over 50% of our team has received the vaccine. So we're making a lot of progress and we're into second vaccine doses now here at the hospital. So the vaccination really for 2021 is really how we're going to reduce the curve, the illnesses, the hospitalizations, and the deaths that we're seeing. Without the vaccine, we're going to struggle. So I can't promote it enough. Really, really important for the community. Next. So I get Frequently asked questions about should I get tested? And certainly, if you have signs and symptoms of COVID, and I've listed some of those on the screen here, such as fever, chills, cough, shortness of breath, body aches, loss of taste and smell is very common. Or you've been exposed to someone who you suspect has COVID. Please stay at home. Assume you're infected even before you get the COVID test. Assume that you've been exposed and you need to quarantine and protect yourself and others from you. So it's important to not go out and continue to go out in the community after you've been exposed. There are some local testing sites that I've included on the slide here at the library, at the stadium. The contact information is there. There's also sites that aren't public and aren't free that you can pay for. The Promenade Mall is an example where you can drive up and get testing. Sometimes you need an appointment. Sometimes you can just drive up. I know someone this morning that went there to the mall and drove up, got a test, and got the results within a few hours. And you might have to pay cash for that, but it is a really easy way to find out if you do have COVID and you need to quarantine and stay away from the public. Next. So I wanted to explain a little bit about the regional stay-at-home orders and what that means in regards to ICU capacity. About a month ago, the governor changed how we're restricted, and it's based almost solely on ICU capacity now. So prior to that time, we were in colors. So we were in, purple or orange, or depending on what was going on with several different factors related to COVID. What changed is now it's based on ICU capacity, and we've been divided into regions. So the Southern California region is huge. It includes Imperial, Inyo, Los Angeles, Mono, Orange, and our county, Riverside, San Bernardino, San Diego, San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, and Ventura. So that's a large population, a large area. And what we're looking at is the ICU capacity in all the hospitals in this entire region. So ICU capacity is pretty easy to calculate. It's your current beds available in the ICU. What's a little bit interesting about this is because the ICUs have become so full, most hospitals, including ours, have expanded our ICUs. So for example, at Temecula Valley Hospital, we have a 20-bed ICU. When that ICU became full, we opened another ICU using our recovery room. So we added another room of 10 beds to our ICU. ICU capacity is only measured on your original licensed beds. So it's measured at here on our 20 beds. As soon as those 20 beds are full, then we're at zero capacity for ICU. So right now, all of the Southern California region is at zero capacity, measuring what they originally had as far as on their licensed beds. So all the ICUs right now in this region are at zero capacity. If you look at the data throughout the state, there are certain areas that are doing better. Northern California, very close to the Oregon border, is not at 0%, but most of the state is at 0%. So we will stay at home with at-home orders on ICU capacity until it gets 15%. So again, I can't stress enough the importance of adhering to safe practices to prevent the spread of the disease. The longer it spreads, the more the ICUs are going to be full and the more we're going to have stay-at-home orders. So very important, the two go hand in hand. Once we reach that 15%, again, availability of ICU beds, then we switch back into the colored tiers again. And that opens up businesses, opens up activities, schools and other things. So very important that we address the ICU capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Next. So one of the things that we're doing here at the hospital, of course, we are in regular communication with the CDC and the Public Health Department. We have calls very frequently to keep up with any changes that are happening with the treatment of the disease, as well as the safe practices. We are certainly administering the vaccine here to our healthcare workers, as I referenced. We're creating capacity. As I mentioned, the ICU, we've added 10 beds there. We've also added additional space on the first floor of the hospital where we've created 8 more ICU, 8 more emergency room beds, as well as 33 medical surgical beds. And all of those beds are currently full. So the hospital's running at about 135% occupancy right now, meaning that we have 35% more patients in the hospital than the number of beds that we would normally have had we not created all these additional spaces. To care for that amount of patients, we've added additional staff. We are doing well with our protective equipment, our supplies, and we're testing our own healthcare workers. So we offer testing free for our own employees and physicians on a weekly basis, and so they can test at any time. The other thing that we've adhered to is the state had a public health order to restrict all elective procedures in the state of California. So all hospitals have stopped all elective procedures. The reason for that is it increases capacity. We're able to use those areas like our recovery room areas normally recover after surgery. Those areas are being used for inpatient care, for ICUs, for different uses throughout the state. It also allows us to use those nurses and technicians in other areas of the hospital. So we have OR nurses working in the emergency room, in the ICU, in different areas of the hospital, along with the cath lab team and other areas. And that's helping all hospitals in the state to deal with the staffing shortage and the exhaustion of our teams. Also, we have stopped all visitation for the safety of our staff and patients in the community. Creates a lot of challenges. I love having visitors in the hospital. I think they're a key component of the care to our patients. Sadly, at this time, there is no visitation, so relying on using phone, using Zoom, other ways to communicate with our families. But it does make it very difficult for the amount of families that are waiting outside the hospital or waiting in their vehicles in the parking lot, trying to see their loved ones. And trying to find out what's happening at a very busy hospital. So challenging time. Next. So I would certainly be remiss if I didn't reach out and thank the community for all of your support. The outpouring of recognition for the healthcare team. And I have to tell you, this has been a battle that's been going on now for months, and the team is physically and mentally exhausted. So your prayers, your gifts, your recognition means a tremendous amount to those that are on the front line here at the hospital. So thank you for that recognition. Appreciate anything that you can do for the team here, whether it's just writing a thank you note that we can post on the wall, doing a drive-by, donating a gift, makes all the difference to the world, to the team here. So thank you for that support. And I'd certainly like to open it up to any questions you might have.
Well, thank you, Darlene. Our hearts go out to our healthcare workers, because I know you have shortages because you have healthcare workers that are out because they were either exposed or because they contracted the virus or someone in their home did. So, and I know that you take extreme precautions at the hospital, and still, so that's why everyone needs to wear their mask, wash their hands, and stay home. So, Stu.
Yeah, Darlene, we've talked about this before, but you are a stroke hospital. You specialize in strokes. And could you talk about how important it is for someone who is experiencing, heart problems or a stroke issue to get to the hospital no matter what? And, you were telling me how people are waiting too long.
Yes.
And then all the everything is kind of locked in at that point. So could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure, and I appreciate that. Very important point, because what we see is individuals that are afraid to call 911 or afraid to come to the emergency room because of their fear of COVID. And that's why it's so important that we've got segregated areas in all areas of the hospital, even though we've gotten very, very busy and all the beds are full. It's still very, very important to come to the emergency room. We have space here, and not wait for those important things that are time sensitive. Every minute that you wait for a stroke, there are brain cells that are dying. So someone that's had stroke symptoms and waits 3 days, that's a tremendous difference than someone that has stroke symptoms and they or their loved one calls 911 immediately and gets to us right away. We can render treatment and resolve a lot of the stroke deficiencies if we get there fast. Same thing with the heart attack, someone having chest pain. And we still see individuals that'll wait 3 or 4 days and they'll tell us, I started having chest pain at home, but gosh, I was afraid to come in. That can be life-threatening, truly, for someone to wait that has serious chest pain, maybe having a serious heart attack and could literally die at home out of fear of COVID, which is not the smart thing to do. They really need to come in and still use that 911 system.
Anyone else? No? I will say that we lost a very good friend who thought he had a cold and kept insisting that he just had a cold and he had a cold and he got a cough, and when he couldn't move anymore, they took him to a hospital, and he only lived another 8 hours. So don't wait. If you have any of the symptoms that are on the list, and our daughter contracted it, she lost every sense of taste and smell. And that was the only symptom that she had, but she knew that that was one of them. And when she drank her coffee in the morning and she couldn't taste it or smell it, she immediately, called her doctor. So don't hesitate, please, Temecula residents. We have great healthcare services. Darlene, please send our prayers and thoughts and virtual hugs and love and everything else to all of your staff. I know they're working so hard. And if there's anything that lay people can do to help, I know you don't want, people running around inside the hospital who don't know what they're doing, but if there's anything that we can do to help, let us know.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. All right, we've got one more.
Madam Mayor?
Oh, I'm sorry, Zach.
I think Councilmember Ron has his hand up as well.
Oh, you did? You got to move them more like this because you guys are very small.
There you go. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Darlene, thank you so much for the presentation, and please send our love to everyone at TVH and let them know that we're certainly thinking of them. It's a sobering picture to hear what's going on, because there's that belief that this just isn't happening here, right? We sort of hear that narrative online, and we sort of know that's not true with what we're seeing, and you're certainly here telling us that. I don't really have a question. That first slide was like, well, what can we do? And they're very simple things, right? Let's wear a mask and don't gather and wash your hands, right? Those are things I think we need to really drill down on as a community, and to protect, not only our friends and family, but those healthcare workers that are literally putting their lives on the line to save lives. So just thank you so much for coming and giving us that, and hopefully we can get through the next few months and the rest of this year in one piece. So thank you.
Right, thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Matt, did you have your hand up?
Just a quick one. I know the hospital's got some construction going on right now as well. So always happy to see the work you're doing and the expansions that are going on, and what we've talked about for potential future work as well. And you all have done an amazing job in our community, and we're glad to see you growing with Temecula. So thank everybody for all the hard work they're doing, and hang in there. Hopefully there's a light at the end of this tunnel.
There absolutely is. Thank you.
All right, anybody else? Jessica.
Well, I just want to say, first off, thank you for all you guys are doing. I hear great things about the hospital, and so I just applaud everybody and all of you workers, really. I really do. Thank you. I just want to also say, to bring light to this and to bring some positivity, people are getting through this. We're working together, working as a community, and that's something strongly to look at, that there's still light at the end of the tunnel, and that we need to really focus on that as well. So I just thank everybody. We just need to keep working together and just pushing forward, because there is hope. And I've had it before, and it's, we got through it as a family, and we did great. So I just, we'll be praying for everybody. So thank you.
Vaccines are on the horizon, and that was the big hope. And so looks like they're going to be on their way. So thank you again, Darlene, and please pass along our love and appreciation.
Sure will. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, now we have another presentation by American Public Works Association for Ronald Reagan Sports Park pump track. And if you haven't been to the sports park and seen our pump track, it is amazing. So, Randy, tell us exactly what's going to go on with the American Public Works.
Yes, we actually have a representative of the association here. I believe William Hemsley is here and ready to provide us with a little presentation.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah, hi, Honorable Mayor and members of the council. My name is Bill Hemsley, and I come before you today representing the Inland Empire branch of the American Public Works Association. For over 75 years, the mission of APWA has been to promote professional excellence and public works awareness. One way we do this is by recognizing the public works projects with our Project of the Year award program. Each year we solicit submittals from local agencies. We evaluate the projects based on service to the community, environmental enhancement, sustainability, unique design and planning, cost effectiveness, improvement of public safety, and aesthetics. I'm pleased to inform you that one of your city projects received recognition this year. Your city public works employee, Nino Abad, made a presentation at our luncheon meeting in November, and I have some excerpts from that to share with you. Share my screen here. If I can figure out how to do it. There we go. All right. Here we go. So here is the presentation that was presented, at least parts of it. If I can get it to go to the next slide. Maybe tab. Help. Oh, there we go. All right. All right. So here's some quick facts that were shown. I'll just quickly summarize. The project cost $460,000 about, including administration. It's the first municipally owned pump track in California that's capable of hosting the Red Bull UCI Pump Track Championship qualifiers event. Here I'll show some photos that were shared with the board. The construction going on. You can see there's a lot of handwork that was occurring through the project. Customized design there. And some unique design factors and cost savings that your staff work with the design team to make happen, so you can add extra features like this amenity of a wall that is very much appreciated by the users. And so the park is, I guess, from what I understand, very popular and suitable for skateboarders and scooters, BMX, and mountain bikes. The grand opening was a great success with over 500 people attending with vendor booths and pro rider demos. There's some photos of that going on there. And so this is just an amazing project that continues to provide benefit to your community with daily ridership over 200 people a day, a regional draw with increase in revenue for your bike shops. And I guess the pump track was so popular, the city constructed and opened in last month a mini pump track. So here's some of the partners and key players, the city council and the engineers and designers that were part of the project made it such a success. And so the APWA is pleased to present the Small Project of the Year Award to the city of Temecula. And that concludes my presentation.
Well, thank you, Bill. On behalf of the city, we thank you so much for recognizing what has become one of Temecula's most popular destinations.
Awesome.
And the amazing thing about that pump track is when you go there, you will see people of all ages, sizes, capabilities, and it's wonderful. And it's crowded, but yet they still are on there all at the same time, and everything seems to work. It's amazing. So thank you very much. And
thank you.
We're very proud of it. And yes, we did build a mini one because it was so popular. So thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we're gonna get on to public comments. Randy, do we have any public comments?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I have approximately 20 public comments.
20, okay.
Did you want me to go ahead and read the
Yes,
rules? Awesome.
please.
So public comments, a total of 30 minutes is provided for members of the public to address the City Council on items that appear on the consent calendar or a matter not listed on the agenda. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. For all public hearing or business items on the agenda, each speaker is limited to 5 minutes. For this meeting, public comments were submitted and will be read into the record pursuant to the important notice provided at the top of the agenda. I'm going to go ahead and a few of these are a little long, so I will use my 3-minute timer. The first comment is actually from a group of residents, Brett DiOrio, Chuck Warnett and Nancy Warnett, Craig and Alana Burchett, Dave and Lisa Chrisman, Gary and Erlene Bodman, Jean Burchett, Glenn and Kathleen Manini Smith, Jane Lujan, Joseph Doran and Tony Doran, Ken and Debbie Johnson, Kevin Hazard, Leanne Diorio, Marion and James Jones, Melinda Emig, Michael Gomez and Valerie Wright Gomez, Mike Diorio, Nathan Diorio, Neil Van Bruggen, Olivia Diorio, Randy and Amy Crane, Rick Reese, and Susie Sharp. And it says, as a group of concerned Temecula residents, we're writing this letter in support of Riverside County Sheriff Bianco and other California law enforcement officials. During the COVID-19 pandemic, our sheriff's recommendations are to social distance, wear masks, and avoid non-essential activities without restrictions imposed by the governor of the state of California. Governor Newsom's restrictive regional approach to combating COVID-19 with closures and stay-at-home orders has been questioned as to its effectiveness by many Californians. Sheriff Bianco said the governor expects law enforcement officers to arrest violators of these orders, cite them and take their money, close their business, make them stay in their homes, take away their civil liberties, or he will punish all of us. The reality in Riverside County is that our governor and state legislatures are making it extremely difficult for law enforcement to protect residents from criminals because of lack of funding and lack of laws that are in favor of law enforcement. Available resources should be used to enforce laws that address real crime situations in our cities rather than using these resources to respond to someone not wearing a mask or keeping a business open. We believe Newsom's shutdown orders are hypocritical and harm the residents of our cities. Newsom himself dines in luxury restaurants, allows his businesses to stay open, allows his children to go to private school, and collects his salary as governor paid by the people of California. Dr. Scott Morrow, a physician and San Mateo County health official who supported last spring's stay-at-home orders, said he now believes the recently imposed local and statewide restrictions make little sense. Counties in California with more restrictions seem to be worse off. The question is whether broad legal mandates are the best way to help curtail virus transmission. I think these greater restrictions will result in more job loss, more hunger, more despair, and more desperation, and more death from causes other than COVID-19. We would like to thank our Temecula City Council members for supporting Sheriff Bianco, our residents, our businesses, and our schools, and working towards removing Governor Newsom's restrictions from our livelihoods. We would like to see our city flourish under good laws that support the people and the city. The next speaker is Jennifer O'Farrell. I want to be the first to wish you a happy National Mentoring Month. Mentoring energizes communities. It empowers youth to envision a brighter future. It unlocks new career pathways and educational opportunities. Big Brothers, Big Sisters of the Inland Empire serving Temecula celebrates with each of you the incredible potential of our city's youth and the mentors who are helping them achieve success and self-sufficiency. But our work is far from over. There are hundreds of children still waiting to be matched. National Mentoring Month raises awareness for this growing need and helps drive critical volunteer recruitment efforts. Mentoring is one of the longest social institutions we have that make the fabric of our neighborhoods and cities work. And mentoring is the most cost-effective long-term economic investment strategy for keeping underserved youth in school and providing access to workforce experience. The children we serve face barriers beyond their control: poverty, contact with criminal justice system, and unresolved trauma. And that was all before the pandemic. These barriers create isolation and disconnection, resulting in complications in school and future work. Yet with the connection of a big brother or big sister, we are proud to share that 60% increase in school attendance, an 80% increase in 2 academic subjects, and 100% refrained from criminal activity, and 100% this last year graduated high school, and 74% of them were first in their family to have a diploma. Join Big Brothers and Big Sisters this month in volunteering to be a mentor and celebrating with us our youth and their mentors. The next speaker is Kathy Sizemore. I'm Kathy Sizemore, Assistant Scoutmaster for Boy Scout Troop 148, chartered by the VFW Post 4089, and the Scouting District Membership Chair. I have the privilege of viewing the live stream of this evening's City Council meeting with Boy Scouts from Troop 148 that are working on the Citizenship in the Community Merit Badge. During the next 8 weeks, these Scouts will learn what it takes to be a good citizen in their community, including their rights, duties, and obligations of citizenship. They are discovering what our community is known for and learning about the history of our city. As part of completing the Citizenship in the Community Merit Badge, each of these Scouts will complete 8 hours of community service benefiting the Temecula nonprofit Good Samaritan Food Pantry. 2020 has been a year full of challenges and opportunities, yet Scouting has continued to move forward, making a difference here in Southwest Riverside County. Serving all youth, boys and girls, in 2020, 550 Temecula youth participated in BSA programs. Temecula is home to 20 scouting units, PACs, troops, fire, aviation, police, highway patrol, and medical explorer posts. Since the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic in March, our scouting volunteers have worked tirelessly to pivot delivery of the scouting program to a virtual format. Our scouts have shown perseverance in adapting to meeting virtually while continuing to actively pursue rank advancement. Despite the global pandemic and not being able to meet for in-person scouting, Southwest Riverside County BSA Scouts contributed over 13,000 hours of community service to various organizations within our region. Last year, 87 Scouts in our community achieved Scouting's highest rank of Eagle Scout. 55 of those Scouts were awarded Eagle Scout rank in a virtual setting during the pandemic. Just a sample of some of the Eagle Scout projects that benefited our community. Adam Truax from Troop 148 led the construction of reading benches, a Lego play table, and a rolling dry erase board for the school library at Red Hawk Elementary School. And Jaden Cadola of Troop 148 led the assembly of toiletry backpacks for distribution to local foster and at-risk youth. Thank you for demonstrating the workings of local government to our Scouts tonight and being a part of helping each of these young men be prepared to be better citizens and future leaders in our community. The next speaker, actually it just says Temecula resident from their email, and it's a little long, so I'll go ahead and start the clock. As a parent and a resident of Temecula for 15 years who currently resides in District 2, I am writing to express my concern regarding the act of insurrection we witnessed this past Wednesday. Despite our local elected leaders being officially nonpartisan, most of our council identifies themselves as Republicans. Our newest council member, Jessica Alexander, campaigned as an overtly pro-Trump candidate and participated in multiple rallies and demonstrations, including the November 1st demonstration, which disrupted polling sites here in Temecula. The two congressional representatives who served Temecula, Darrell Issa and Ken Calvert, both voted on Wednesday, even as Congress was forced to convene late at night amidst the wreckage of the day's violence that left 5 people dead, to reject the results of the Electoral College in certifying President-elect Biden's win. All of this despite the fact that over 85 judges, including many Trump appointees across the country, have unanimously rejected every claim of voter fraud brought before them following the election. Despite the fact that the disputed results come from ballots which simultaneously, in many cases, brought Republican candidates to victory. For our leaders to continue to support these claims flies in the face of not only reason, but of democracy itself. Temecula prides itself on being different, on being better, on being a family-friendly and patriotic town. Our council has historically acted with good judgment in building a city we can all be proud of, a city known for its excellent public safety and high quality of life. But we must not think we are immune to the violence which engulfed our capital this past week and which still threatens further harm to our country. Indeed, over the past 4 years, many of our council members, either out of sincere agreement or more likely perceived political pressure, have indulged the very forces which gathered on the steps of the Capitol building intent on overturning the results of a free and fair election. In fact, we saw a small taste of that in December when this city council took the unprecedented and baseless step of declaring the member most supportive of Black Lives Matter, Councilmember Schwenk, as unprepared for what would have been his traditional rotation into the mayoral spot, a thinly veiled political maneuver that should be beneath our city. As a result of this political posturing over the past several years, Temecula has become known throughout California as an epicenter of pro-Trump, QAnon, anti-masking, and Stop the Steal activity. We must realize that these actions and rhetoric have consequences. A December 31st, 2020 Facebook post from the Murrieta Temecula Republican Assembly encouraging local residents to attend the DC rally on January 6th promised a wild protest and included the language, "This is it, patriots. This is a calling higher than ourselves. Those who became before us bled, fought, and rode through the night on horseback. This is what we've been waiting for. Now is the time. This is our 1776." This is a clear call to insurrectionist violence. Members of far-right message boards online are still calling for violence prior to the inauguration of President-elect Joe Biden. Madam Mayor, that's time. The next speaker is Arthur St. Duval. As a proud patriot of this great nation and a resident of Temecula since before its creation, I feel a profound duty to voice my concern and ask that the city of Temecula pass a resolution affirming that the results of the 2020 presidential election were fairly decided, that Joe Biden will be the legitimate 46th president of the United States of America, and that this city council firmly condemns the attempted insurrection against our federal government that took place on January 6th. In addition, that resolution must condemn all acts of political violence as well as the type of incendiary language that provoked last Wednesday's tragic and treasonous attempt to overturn the results of our democratically held elections. I understand that this may be a difficult task for some council members who have explicitly expressed their support for President Trump in the past. To pass such a resolution means acknowledging that violence and lawlessness was committed in his name. However, I ask that the council, as elected servants, to remember that their commitment is to the people and our democratic system that placed them there. Party loyalty and devotion to its chosen leader never supersedes that first and most sacred allegiance. Since the results of the national election on November 3rd, over 80 federal judges have rejected suits alleging voter fraud brought forward by the Trump campaign due to insufficient evidence. Many of these judges hailed from the same party as President Trump, and in some cases were even his appointees. Nevertheless, the president has continued to lie to his fervent supporters, promoting a false narrative of a stolen election and planting the seeds of fear, resentment, and rabid hatred of all those who do not bend to his narcissistic, demagogue, and anti-democratic reality. Even those elected officials, well aware in their hearts that the election was carried out justly, have in an attempt to appease the president and his ideological allies and to further their own careers, helped to usher in the violence we witnessed last week and the violence I pray we do not endure in the coming weeks. The list of elected representatives that supported the president's delusion and those who voted against the certification of the election results included House members Isa and Calvert, whose districts both include Temecula. In addition, the local Republican Assembly of Temecula Murrieta openly promoted the January 6th protest in Washington with the most extreme and hyperbolic language, practically guaranteeing the type of brutality the world witnessed. Now is the time for this city council to take a firm stand and pass a resolution that condemns these actions being taken, including by some of our very own locals. You must separate yourselves from the complicity and stand up for honesty, peace, and freedom. This is the type of leadership this city, state, and nation deserves. The next speaker is Joy Wilson. We are thankful for your service and time you spend to make our city great. Welcome, Jessica, and welcome back, Stu. We love the new pump track. We want to continue to show our support for our local small businesses and restaurants being open safely. Please consider a way for the wineries to reopen. We are thankful for all those staying safely open and hope they can continue to do so. The next speaker is Paula Mead. As a longtime citizen of the Temecula Valley and a local teacher, I expect the city of Temecula to publicly denounce the rhetoric and actions of those who stoked and inflamed the fires of sedition at our capital and the domestic terrorists who terrorized, harmed, and murdered our fellow Americans. It is the duty of the city to make its stance known so all citizens feel we live in a city that upholds the values of our democracy. The next speaker is Jonathan Chang. Last week was a deadly insurrection on our democracy, a democracy I and countless others fought to protect. The assault on our capital on January 6, 2021 will go down in history next to April 12, 1861, the Battle of Fort Sumter, the first battle of the Civil War. The last time our capital was assaulted in such a fashion occurred during the War of 1812. Rome was the greatest civilization of its time, its empire vast and prosperous. No standing military was able to crush the Roman Empire. Rome fell from within. It collapsed on itself. We must learn from the lessons of the past. Councilmember Alexander, as a fellow veteran, I expect you, of all people, to be the loudest voice in this body decrying the assault on our democracy. Each of you are leaders in our community. As such, I expect each of you to lead and use your position and platform to denounce the seditious insurrection that took place. In order for us to begin healing, it is each of our responsibility to stop the spread of disinformation, conspiracies, and flat-out lies, especially as they pertain to the 2020 election. Violence, sedition, and insurrection have no place in our country or our community. Our community is as divided as ever. It is a new year. I challenge each of you, move our community forward and stand for the truth and denounce lies and conspiracies. P.S. COVID has not gone away. Establishments in Old Town continue to openly defy health orders, endangering our community. The next speaker is Anna Neri. As a citizen, I was appalled by the action of the terrorists who participated in the DC riots on January 6th. There's plenty of people in our beautiful city who continue to amplify their voice and support for the insurrectionists. One needs to not look far. There's plenty of rhetoric in support of the failed coup on local social media groups from Temecula. Now is the time for the City Council to denounce people's involvement and support of the terrorist attacks. We need to stand united in opposing the insurrection actions and support and defend the democratic process of our nation and ultimately our small community and city. Thank you. The next speaker is Jamie Bragger. I am wondering if there will be a discussion regarding replacing of the entire Paba road. In my opinion, it has to be the worst road in Temecula regarding potholes, as well as when will the city or county take over paving of the non-county maintained portion of Paba Road from Via del Monte to Calle Contento. This particular portion of the road is utilized by so many Temecula residents, winery visitors, tours, construction vehicles, sanitation vehicles, and I've even seen Riverside County Transit utilizing this road. Thanks for all that you do for our beautiful city. The next speaker is Darcy Jorio. I support the restaurant owners' right to stay open. They are doing a great job of keeping everyone safe. They have a right to work, to pay their bills, and feed their families. Keep our restaurants open. The next speaker is PJ. Thank you to Council, Madam Mayor, and City staff for allowing me to share my thoughts tonight. We are at a critical crossroads in our community. We recently elected 2 council members who have openly espoused and endorsed the dangerous incendiary rhetoric spewed across our country for 4 years. The insurrectionist attack on our nation's capital is the result of that support promotion that they had a part in. I imagine the poison that flows through their veins as they sit on the dais tonight won't soon go away. Their displayed racism during the election cycle, and while they held the mayor's seat, stained the reputation of Temecula for years to come. The death of blue lives at the hands of MAGA militants attempting to murder and maim won't have changed their position either, and that puts our city at risk. It invites outside agitators like Bob Cowell from Murrieta to continually spread misinformation. It invites former council candidates like Sonia Perez to continue to speak her ignorant, hateful rhetoric publicly. It allows for a radical MAGA conservative like Chad Bianco to continue to disregard his responsibility to protect the public from those utilizing ignorance to put us in harm's way. They all have an audience on our council, and we must pay close attention to them and how they govern. Partisan politics have no place on city council, and yet they were elected with partisan politics. They are very much a threat to our future. Bianco's dereliction of his duty unchecked has created no better argument for a municipal police force for our city, one where the citizens and elected officials direct how our law enforcement policies of our community, not the other way around. Winery owners who accepted millions in PPP money and still laid off employees before taking vacations, business owners who care more about maintaining their wealth than ensuring the safety of their employees and customers. These are our city's legacy. This is what Temecula is, and it can't be allowed to breathe. The Ready Commission is a step towards inclusivity in our community, even though the so-called inclusivity council member, Mike Nagar, continually fought behind the scenes against the commission and privately aided in the slander of candidates of color vying for his seat. Then he was awarded a park for it. True leaders stand up for the disenfranchised. They lift up the at-risk, pulling from the front, not leading from the front. and understanding the city of Temecula is only as strong as its weakest member. I implore the members of the community to pay attention to what is going to happen to our city with these council members in place. Pay attention to whom they support and associate with, how they vote, the rhetoric they slip into their statements. Who they are, what they stand for reflects upon all of us, and we deserve better. The next speaker is Tammy Acme. On January 6, 2021, an unthinkable act of terrorism occurred at our nation's capital. Domestic terrorists invaded the Capitol building and stormed the halls of Congress, causing horror and destruction. These insurrectionists committed these crimes because they did not get their way in a presidential election. This is not the way Americans conduct themselves in a republic. This is not the democratic way of being. I am calling on each and every Temecula City Council member to denounce those that participated, influenced, and supported this edition on January 6th. I am also demanding that Marianne Edwards, Matt Ron, Zach Schwank, James Stewart, and Jessica Alexander draft a resolution that states that this type of behavior is a betrayal of our Constitution, and actions similar to those seen in Washington, D.C. will not be tolerated in the city of Temecula. The next speaker is Jennifer Scharf. Last week, our country's seat of democracy was attacked from within when domestic terrorists committed seditious insurrection, trying to overturn a free and fair election with a violent coup. Multiple news organizations have reported that many of these domestic terrorists were part of the white supremacist fringe groups such as the Proud Boys, the Three Percenters, and the Oath Keepers, the latter of which I have seen in our city's council chambers spewing their vitriol in support of Councilmember Ron and former Mayor Nagar's public proclamation against socialism, an issue not plaguing our city, community, or country. Now we have another conspiracy theorist on our city council who just today posted on my social media that this violent insurrection in which police officers were murdered, in which a lynching gallows was constructed, and in which multiple federal felonies were committed is part of God's plan. She must have read a different Bible than the one that includes Psalm 11:5. The Lord tests the righteous and the wicked, and the one who loves violence, his soul hates. I am calling on this city council to make a proclamation against an actual problem, one that is eroding our democracy, undermining our sense of decency, and dividing our community. There can be no healing without accountability. We cannot unify without honesty. I call on each of you as elected leaders of our community to proclaim that conspiracy theories, lies, violence, white supremacy, hatred, and sedition have no home here in our beautiful valley or our beloved country. In order to save our democracy and unify our people, we must all use our voices to speak out against the appalling acts and the loathsome lies that incited such a violent, dark day in our country. And I call on you to do so. The next speaker is David Burris. I am shocked and dismayed by the events of last week at the Capitol. As our nation faces what happened, I am praying that leaders on all levels, including the City Council, commit to telling citizens the truth. We trust our leaders to act and speak rationally for the common good. There is no room among any group of citizens for adherence to insane conspiracy theories or unproven allegations regarding the presidential election. Over 60 court decisions found no evidence of fraud that would overturn the results. Yet sadly, we see many people fall into the rabbit holes of irrationality based on propaganda promulgated on social media. Already these arguments often lead to broken families and friendships, and our enemies cheer our inwardly directed animosity. And now a police officer and others are dead, and many people are fearful of more domestic terrorism ahead. It's likely to happen unless good people speak out and take the energy out of this movement. We all understand the phrase to poison the well. We must not allow the brain rot of conspiracy nonsense or seditious speech to further strain our civic bonds here in Temecula. I urge all members of the council to stand for truth and condemn the actions of anyone who would fan the flames of sedition, division, irrationality, or racism for political gain or imagined glory. Temecula is great when we stand together, and I implore you to be leaders of distinguished character, helping us towards that goal. Thank you for your service to the people of Temecula. The next speaker is Candace Keller. I'm sure you are all aware that we have a local social justice group in our city that would like to turn our beautiful town into the next Portland or Seattle via their progressive agenda. I would encourage the council to not make any public statements regarding partisan politics as they are asking you to do. Our city is already so divided. Please don't add any fuel to the fire. There was only a small group causing trouble in DC amongst the hundreds of thousands of peaceful protesters. Of course, the liberal media doesn't show that. I encourage City Council members to continue to support our local small businesses. Our small businesses are struggling to survive. It seems as if the residents wanting to see them shut down are the same ones getting their full paychecks while being able to work from home, including public employees and teachers. Our kids need to get back to the classroom and not a virtual Zoom classroom. Running a city and teaching our children in person should be considered essential business. Those that are too scared or immune compromised can choose to stay home. The rest of us need to get on with life. Also, I would also like to give a shout out to our great Sheriff Bianco and his team for keeping us all safe during these trying times. We are very fortunate to have them protecting us. Starting a new police department is a huge undertaking and very costly. I would imagine the city is already losing revenue from our economy being destroyed by our governor. There are many large cities in our state that are well served from contracting with their counties for police protection. The next speaker is Dr. Lisa Sanchez. As you are aware, a number of Temecula residents have voiced concerns in previous letters to council about law enforcement, with recent failures to enforce curfew and state COVID-19 health orders enabling lawlessness and violence in Old Town Temecula. That includes, among other things, one stabbing after curfew and one shooting after the stay-at-home order was in effect. The incendiary language used by Sheriff Bianco in public statements and videos has fueled this lawless attitude and can easily elevate discontent to active rebellion and violence. Temecula is too large and too diverse a city to be derailed by one sheriff who will not perform his job properly and impartially. His statements, actions, and inaction violate the boundaries of his enforcement authority in usurping the power of other elected officials and interpreting and nullifying valid legal orders of the executive. Indeed, they are antithetical to our most fundamental Constitution principles, the rule of law, the separation of powers, and the very concept of impartial justice within a constitutional democracy. After the criminal activities and trespassing on the U.S. Capitol last Wednesday, January 6th, the FBI issued a warning that all 50 states should prepare for armed demonstrations now and until President-elect Biden's inauguration on January 20th. According to reports and videos of at least 3 reliable news sources, anti-government extremists that may have included off-duty law enforcement in full tactical gear stormed the Capitol in formation and are under investigation. What preparations has Temecula City Council made, and what actions will be taken if violent and/or armed demonstrators appear in Temecula or attempt to intimidate or threaten our cities, buildings, facilities, or citizens? Such a demonstration does not qualify as protected speech in the current context as it has and will incite violence. What actions and preparations has City Council taken to protect our citizens and institutions in the coming days after the inauguration? What investigations will be made to identify any Temecula employees or elected officials who may have participated in unlawful activities in Washington, D.C. on January 6th? What disciplinary actions will be taken against any city employee or elected official who engaged in, encouraged, incited, or publicized such activity? If none, please explain how the citizens of Temecula can be safe in the hands of employees and elected officials who participated in or aided and encouraged such activities against our government. 5, on behalf of a great many Temecula residents, we implore this council to revoke the contract of Riverside County Sheriff and hire its own police force, which will be accountable to Temecula residents and the City Council. Please discuss this urgent matter in session tonight and place it on the agenda for full consideration at the next meeting on January 26th. The next speaker is Bob Cowell. I went to the U.S. Capitol on January 6th for a peaceful protest against the unfair treatment of President Trump and his supporters by the Democrats, media, and technocrats. For us, we were not there to flame sedition, but to stop sedition of the constant attacks on us and our president. Our president won the election, and there is proof that he won, and suddenly that won't be allowed to be spoken. If my words cause you to pause, then look at the censorship that we now are suffering under with the cancellation of us on Parler and other media. No one I was with went there to hurt or damage anything at the Capitol building. None of us wanted to do that. We all wanted to express our free speech right of expression. On the other hand, our side has watched as Democrats through the media stoke sedition all over the country. They have hurt us personally by taking our lives away. They take our jobs away. Like fascists of the past, they have labeled us and put us down as a culture and a people. We are not racist, as the left says. We want free speech, not controlled speech by one side, the Democrats and their allies. The next speaker is Tammy Sims. Last week, there was a deadly insurrection on our democracy, an outright assault on our Capitol on January 6th by domestic terrorists. Councilmember Alexander, as a fellow veteran, I expect you of all people to be the loudest voice in this body decrying the assault on our democracy. Yet on your Facebook page, it shows 196 shares of the Fight for Trump protest, the same protest that had deadly consequences and attempted to overthrow our country. See screenshot below. Each of you are leaders in our community. As such, I expect each of you to lead and use your position and platform to denounce the seditious insurrection that took place. I hope now that it has been seen for what it was, a coup to overthrow our very democracy, you will now denounce what took place. As leaders of our community, it is your responsibility to stop the spread of disinformation, conspiracies, and flat-out lies, especially as they pertain to the 2020 election. Violence, sedition, and insurrection have no place in our country or our community. Our community is as divided as ever. It is a new year. I challenge each of you to move our community forward and stand for the truth and denounce lies and conspiracies. The next speaker is Nam Young Horn. I was one of the people who went to Washington, D.C. to peacefully rally in protest to the stealing of the election from President Trump. I was there expressing my First Amendment right not to cause or to join an anarchist riot. There is ample information all over the internet affirming that we were of peaceful intent. I encourage all Americans and City Council members of good sense to agree that the outcome of this past November's national election may be legitimately questionable. Thank you for your time and your service. The next speaker is George Williams. I'm a 63-year-old African-American male educated with both a BS and MPA and retired military. I moved to the Temecula area from Los Angeles County because it was one of the last bastions of traditional values that still exist in this state, a calm island in the middle of a sea of liberal socialistic viewpoints, if you will. I understand that around 1830, the Whig Party failed to support traditional American values or stand up to Democrats against slavery. As a result, Abraham Lincoln helped us to usher in the new Republican Party. Unfortunately, I believe history seems to be repeating itself as weak Republican politicians appear afraid to stand up against Democratic political corruption. With that said, I officially ended my affiliation with the Republican Party and have become a registered independent. My main concern is that Temecula seems to be going down an unsettling anti-American path, and I'm beginning to see the same governmental leadership policies and decisions that drove me away from LA County. It is my hope that the City Council will take a hard look at their leadership decisions and endeavor to support and represent the more pro-American and conservative-leaning philosophies that once made Temecula a wonderful place to live. Madam Mayor, I did get one email in late after I got down to the chambers, so I'll go ahead and read that one into the record as well. It is from Rick Reese, and I have a follow-up email from a Sarah Hiker that stated she agrees with the statements made by Rick Reese and seconds the opinions he put forth. So that particular email reads, in the wake of the January 6th disturbance and tragic deaths at the U.S. Capitol following a political rally in Washington, D.C., it has come to my attention that some local political activists plan to inundate the City Council meeting tonight with agitprop and demands that you condemn on their terms the events of that day. I have no problem with local citizens petitioning their government on any variety of topics, which may or may not have any pertinence to our local governance here in Temecula. However, you should be aware that these activists are conducting a coordinating campaign tonight in an effort to politically cow the City Council into submitting to their political agenda. Please take their views into consideration, but do not base your conclusions solely on these political activist propaganda and partisan agendas. He actually attached some screenshots. I believe while we all await the investigations and filing of charges against those who are alleged to have broken the law on January 6th at the U.S. Capitol, we should also move to lower the hateful political rhetoric and totalitarian-inspired cancel culture coming from too many sides of the political spectrum, media, and corporations. Those who engaged in criminal conduct by breaching the U.S. Capitol security, resulting in vandalism, disruption of Congress, and resulting in the injuries and deaths of U.S. officers and civilians alike, should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. In the same vein, all of the Antifa, BLM affiliated rioters, arsonists, thugs, looters, and killers who have destroyed private business, burned down and looted police stations in Minneapolis and Seattle, attacked the U.S. courthouse and federal offices in Portland, and committed a host of similar crimes in various American cities throughout much of the past year should also be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. As the adage goes, sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander. One of my hopes for this new year is that those who are guilty of these crimes at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th and those who are guilty of crimes through the Antifa BLM organized riots during the past year will all be prison cellmates serving long sentences while getting to know each other really well. That would be justice for all. Have a happy new year and thank you for your time and consideration. Madam Mayor, that concludes public comments on non-agenda items.
Thank you, Randy. I have several things that I want to say, but we're coming up on city council reports anyway, so I think I'll save mine. So if we want to move on to city council reports, now is the time for you to make a comment. So I don't see anybody, but Stu.
Well, as the official mayor for 2020, I just want to congratulate you on becoming the official mayor for 2021.
Thank you.
So that's all I wanted to say.
Oh, thank you. Anybody else? Oh, Jessica, I think she beat you just by a hair, Zach. Go ahead, Jessica.
No, let Zach go ahead. It's all good. Go ahead, Zach.
Okay, go ahead, Zach.
Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. A couple items that I want to bring up. After the last meeting in December, I sort of took a little time to reflect and just really have some conversations. And some of those conversations took me to fellow commissioners. And it really seems appropriate tonight, since we just had a presentation from Darlene at Temecula Valley Hospital, that I bring this forward. So one of the conversations I had was with Commissioner Ruiz, who's on our Community Services Commission. In his private life and in many of ours, we're supportive of Temecula Valley Hospital, but he brought something forward to me that I think we need to look at, and with everyone's concurrence, I'm hopeful we can do that. I think oftentimes we get lost in the day-to-day of what we're doing here at the city, and often forget to just recognize and maybe and what we should do is proclaim a day, Healthcare Workers Day. So that was sort of the ask from Adam in the conversation that I had, that we can just really formally recognize what our healthcare professionals are going through right now. As you heard, it's pretty brutal, and you read the data and you see what's going on, and you see the tired faces, and you understand that they are just worked. So while I know our community wraps their arms around them and they're donating and taking food, I see social media posts and the like of that. I know they're doing that, but I think as a city, we could certainly proclaim a Healthcare Workers Day, and at some point when appropriate, welcome them all into City Hall and truly celebrate the job that they did over the last, well, going on a year now, and maybe it's another 6 months, maybe it's another 12, we don't know, but I would like us to consider that. So if there's concurrence, I would certainly appreciate that.
That's a great idea, Zach.
Okay, thank you so much. And then again, in some of those conversations, and especially as of late, given what happened last Wednesday, I've taken phone calls, I've talked to neighbors, I've spoke with friends and family and people that I just genuinely appreciate, people that live and work and play in our community, and so I have some words. I took the time to write this down, so just bear with me while I read this. So I'm not just throwing this off the top of my head. So I think we certainly would be remiss not to mention and recognize the tragedy of what happened at our United States Capitol. While we mourn the Capitol officers that lost their lives and the ones that were injured at the hands of a misguided and misled group of rioters and seditionists bent on upending our democracy, this is an opportunity to remind ourselves of what our duty here is at City Hall. I also believe it's an appropriate time to remind ourselves, as well as our constituents, about the dangers of attempting to politicize the role of city council members. These positions are clearly apolitical, and they shouldn't have any of that political party influence. We were all certainly witness to what rhetoric and misinformation can do to a populace, easily misguided, and the mayhem that can occur as a result. that sort of political deviance has no place in City Hall from our residents or from outside influences, and especially from our council. I, for one, I won't stand for it, and neither should any of us. We should expect more. We're about the business of Temecula and the advancement of the community. And our focus, and my focus, will always be about the best interests of the constituents, our residents here in Temecula. It's often easy for us to lose focus on our purpose. It can be difficult to avoid letting our emotions get the better of us and the desire to be heard. This dais, the chamber, this Zoom is not a place for partisan politics. While our country begins on a path to accountability, healing and the road leading us forward, I hope we will be present during this historic time, while at the same time recognizing that we are all Americans. And on inside this room and inside this Zoom, we're all Temeculans. And I think that's important to note. Again, I just want to take this time to acknowledge the tragedy that happened at our Capitol, the struggles many Americans are enduring, and remind ourselves that if we focus our attention on the tasks we are elected to do, brighter days are certainly ahead. And I truly believe that with all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Jessica, you're up.
All right, my first time speaking up here. This is great. All right, well, I just wanted to pass on some great information and maybe bring a little light and incredible news to everybody that I just was able to be a part of this weekend. After speaking to people, I was able to go to a great conference this weekend called Reopen Cal Now, which was incredible because we had such a diverse and variety of people. And since we're talking that we never want to look at things politically when we're moving forward, in a sense, when we're talking city council, the best part was this was such a variety of people, left, right, center, just coming together and bringing ideas together on how we can bring and strengthen our cities all together and our state. And so we had political representatives there of all different backgrounds. We were supposed to have 3 sheriffs there. Only 2 were able to make it out. But realistically, what I loved is how can we come together as a city with safety, within safety, and also upholding our Constitution. And that's what those sheriffs are there for. And so I just love being able to listen to them and being able to see how, as a city as Temecula, when we work together, how we can move forward. And the best part of it is, listen, we have a lot going on with COVID right now. We know there's a lot of things. We see that there's light at the end of the tunnel, but we got to talk to, I believe there was 3 or 4 different doctors there who were able to bring light and different ideas on how we can move forward and strengthen our city and still be able to continue to open safely. And so just great ideas coming forward. I have a lot of information to write down and just kind of pick through like tons of notes. But I know it's going to be really, really good for our city. And I look forward to working with everybody and being able to talk to businesses as well with the information that I've been able to receive. So it was fantastic. So that was my part.
Thank you. Matt?
Well, good evening and exciting first meeting for 2021. Just wanted to welcome this city council to this year. I appreciate, Zach, what you said earlier, and I look forward to a year where we're, working together and showing unity and not division in our community, and, doing what's in the best interests of our city moving forward. We've got a lot of hurdles in front of us, but I think we're more than capable of handling it. So I look forward to working with you all this year. I also just wanted to give you a quick update that as of 2 o'clock today, I was appointed to the Public Safety Committee for the League of California Cities, representing the Riverside Division. At that state level, I think there's an opportunity for us to have a voice and make sure that we have a strong participation in advising the state of California and our legislators about public safety issues here in Temecula and statewide. So look forward to representing us on that. So thank you.
Thank you, Matt. I've been in this city for 31 years, and I've seen it grow, and I've seen residents care for each other and love each other and take care of one another's children and build parks and improve roads, and residents in Temecula are incredible. So it's very difficult for me to understand what has happened to us that we can't agree to disagree. without hating. I mean, what we saw in Washington was hating. So I hope that people judge the city council by what they see in Temecula. And what we have are beautiful, safe streets, flower-filled medians, beautiful neighborhoods. We are the 20th safest city in the nation, while other cities are falling apart. We are the 30th city in the nation for retail sales tax generation, half of which is paid by tourists. So half of our income is coming from tourists, and they help us pave our roads and keep our parks open. Temecula is really blessed, and we're blessed because past city councils have consistently avoided politics and focused 100% of their effort and every fiber of their being on keeping this city the best place to live in the United States. And I frankly think it is. I love Temecula with all my heart. I'm the biggest cheerleader, and that's why I'm here. I love my neighbors. We're just your neighbors, and we're honored to serve in these positions. But, you know, when we see the turmoil that's taking place all over our country, and I had hoped that it would have improved by now, and COVID certainly doesn't help. I have to say what, you know, I've heard since I was a little girl, and there's a song that says, "Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me." Hate speech has to stop with me first. And maybe if I'm in a group where other people are speaking with hatred, I either walk away or I suggest that they might want to talk about something else or in a different way. We can discuss things without hating. And one thing the city has been consistent, and you know, I heard both sides in the public comments. It was interesting. One thing we will not tolerate is violence of any kind, is prejudice of any kind, is racism of any kind. We do not put up with things that violates people's civil, human, and constitutional rights. People have the right to think what they want. They have the right to form conspiracies in their head. What they don't have a right to do is to hurt other people or damage property. So I'd hope we'd think about this spring. If we're tired of this environment, then let's just stop. It's okay for people to be different than I am and to believe differently than I am. If they start to take over my city, I'm there legally. We won't let it happen. No violence. We're hard on crime. So look around you at the city of Temecula. And I think what people are commenting about the most are the voices that they're hearing of people with different opinions and strong opinions. I think social media I don't do social media because I think it does a lot more damage than it does good. If we can just understand that people have a right to their opinion, they don't have a right to force anything on me. And I am going to continue to be nonpartisan. The city councils have been very, very good about that. Potholes are neither Democrat nor Republican nor independent. And so we're going to continue to do our best with the resources that our hardworking residents have given us. We will defend Temecula I will defend Temecula to my last breath to make sure that it remains the safest city in this country, the best place to live, work, and raise a family. We will get through this, but let it begin with me. Okay? All righty. We are on to the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and all will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no discussion of these items unless members of the City Council request specific items be removed from the consent calendar for specific action. Number 1, waive reading of standard ordinances and resolutions. Number 2, approve action minutes of December 8th, 2020. Number 3, approve the list of demands. Number 4, approve City Treasurer's report as of October 31st, 2020 and November 30th, 2020. Number 5, approve annual boards and commission handbook for calendar year 2021. Number 6, approve annual legislative platform for calendar year 2021. Number 7, approve annual citywide records retention schedule and records destruction for calendar year 2021. Number 8, approve First Amendment to Solar Power Purchase Agreement, First Amendment to Sublease Agreement, First Amendment to License Use Agreement, and amended and restated Guarantee of Solar Power Purchase Agreement, all with SMER Research 1 LLC. And that is the end of the consent calendar. Zach, did you want to?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to pull item 5 for discussion, and I would certainly move the balance of the consent.
Okay, I got it. We're pulling item 5, and I've got a motion and a second to move the balance. Want to have a roll call?
Madam Mayor?
Sir.
This is Peter. I need to make a statement on behalf of Council Mayor Pro Tem Ron.
Yes.
He will be abstaining from item number 8 tonight on the consent calendar. This is the First Amendment to the Power Purchase Agreement and several other documents between SMER Research 1 LLC and the Southwest Riverside County Energy Authority and Temecula's power purchase guarantee of Temecula's power purchase payments. Mayor Pro Tem Ron has been researching environmental issues concerning the solar power plant on the SMER site in conjunction with SMER Research 1's obligations under its lease with San Diego State University, and therefore he's going to not participate in this item. But since item 8 is on the consent calendar, Mayor Pro Tem Ron will not need to leave the dais unless the item is pulled by a council member for further consideration. The motion will be to approve the consent calendar with his abstention noted, and so that he may vote on the consent calendar, and then we will be sure to have the abstention and the reasons for it noted in the minutes of this particular meeting.
SMER, for your benefit, is Santa Margarita Ecological Reserve. So I don't want people to think we're making a derogatory remark or anything about smearing anyone. So, all right.
We've been calling it that for so long that we forgot what it stands for.
I know. So I've got a motion and a second on the floor to move the balance, noting that Mayor Pro Tem Ron is abstaining on number 8. Councilmember Schwank is pulling number 5. So now we can have the roll call.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Mayor Edwards?
Aye.
Councilmember Ron?
Aye, with the noted abstention.
Councilmember Stewart?
Aye.
Councilmember Schwank?
Aye.
And thank you for not pulling the item, because leaving the dais for me, I think, means leaving my house. I don't know exactly what I would do at that point. So thank you.
Well, it looks like you're outside in, someplace along Rancho California Road headed into wine country right now. And it's daylight wherever you are, amazingly enough. So Zach, you're going to pull number 5. And
yeah.
You want to have a little report? You just want to discuss it, or what do you want to do?
I could just jump into some of my thoughts. I don't know that we need a full report. It's just approve the boards and commission handbook for this calendar year. Again, with some of those conversations I had over the break with some commissioners, a few things were brought up, and I just want to bring those forward. I felt that there was value in them, especially the first one is I'd like to see us move up the commissioner reports. A lot of times there's a lot of really important things that commission is reporting out on. And it tends to be obviously at the end of the meeting. There are times our meetings go for several hours. And I think that information is important that it gets at that front end of the meeting where we have our greatest audience. And then I just think there's a lot of value in that, bringing that to the front of the meeting. I'd like to see all of the commissions be reporting out. I don't believe we've ever heard the Old Town Local Review Board, right? Everything happened in Old Town last year. There were certainly things that we could have reported out on, right, from the Old Town Local Review Board. So for me, if I'm just being honest, I'd love to see all of our commissions. And now we have the Ready Commission obviously coming on, so that's a whole nother commission. These departments, and I learned this very quickly on TCSD Commission. We have a good story to tell. I'd love to see the directors from these commissions that are heading up these commissions work with the commissioners, the chair, the vice chair, whoever's reporting out, to sort of elevate those presentations. There is good information And doesn't necessarily have to be every single week, and clearly it doesn't need to be that. But there is a way for us, I believe, that we can elevate that standard for what that presentation looks like. Planning always has good things going on, and obviously Old Town Local Review Board, TCSD does a fantastic job always with their presentations. Public Safety has a really good story to tell. Marianne, Madam Mayor, you alluded to that earlier.
Yeah.
Just how important that is. So those are just some of my things that I couldn't find in this handbook, and I wanted to just have this conversation to see if everyone was sort of on board with those, or just have a conversation about it.
Sure. Well, certainly, I can work with city staff, it's mayor prerogative, and see where we can move them up on the agenda. I think that's a good idea too. So, and about all commissions reporting, how about if I just work with city staff on that one too?
Sure.
And what else was there, Zach?
The last one was just making sure that the directors are just working with the chair to provide them with relevant information to tell their story.
Okay. That's going to take place at the commission level then.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, between the director and the commission chair or the vice chair.
Okay. All right. I think that's good. So you want to make a motion on number 5?
I will move item 5.
And?
Second.
Motion and second. So let's have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Alexander.
Aye.
Mayor Edwards.
Aye.
Councilmember Ron.
Aye.
Councilmember Stewart.
Aye.
Councilmember Schwenk.
Aye. And thank you all.
You're welcome. All right. So I'm going to recess the city council meeting and move on to the community services district and all those other names that fall below that on the list. So go ahead, Zach.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I'm going to call tonight's Community Services District meeting to order. Madam City Clerk, since we're still in the virtual setting, would you please take the roll call?
Yes. Director Alexander.
Here.
Director Edwards.
Here.
Director Ron.
Here.
Director Schwenk.
And I'm here.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I'm here too.
And Director Stewart.
Yes, here.
Thank you very much. Do we have any public comments this evening?
We do not, President Schwenk.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll just move on to our consent calendar. We have one item this evening. Item 9 is approve the action minutes of December 8th, 2020. I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Would you please take the roll call vote?
Director Alexander.
Aye.
Director Edwards.
I'm so used to being first, I almost answer every time you call her name. Aye.
Director Ron.
Aye.
Director Stewart.
Aye.
President Schwenk.
Aye. Thank you very much. That passes 5-0. We'll go ahead and move on to our Community Services Director's Report. Director Hawkins, do you have anything for us this evening?
Well, Mr. President, just looking forward to this new year where we continue to create a strong sense of community through our people, parks, and programs. And that pretty much concludes my report.
Thanks, sir. If there's anybody or any team that can do it, I know it's you. So thank you. Director Stewart?
Yes, I just wanted to commend the Community Services Department for the traveling Santa parade. That was incredibly awesome. I've gotten so much positive feedback on that.
Yeah.
People enjoyed the heck out of that. So thank you very much for putting that on. That was awesome.
We appreciate that. It came up, we had our CS Commission meeting last night. And again, I just wanted to thank the special events team. It was the brainchild of Don, of course, Don-tastic. And so we appreciate the effort there and everyone who came out to participate.
I will say one critique.
Okay.
Next time, let's put Santa at the back of the parade, because a lot of times we were driving through and people were coming out of their house after Santa went by,
Yeah.
and I was getting all the action being the last guy in the parade, you know? So if Santa was in the back, by the time everybody came out of their house, then they'd be able to see Santa. So just a little something to.
I don't think so, Stu. I think they were looking at the 56 gnomes that I had on my car.
Yes,
They
true
were
that.
this big. It was covered with gnomes. And I lost a couple on the way. So
Well, I'm writing this down, a little something. Okay.
Something.
Noted.
Very specific.
Kevin, you realize you've just made extra work because we're going to have to do this every year, whether we have a regular parade or not.
That's the intent. That's the goal.
It really was a lot of fun, and I got tremendous feedback. And it was wonderful being so close to the residents, and you could tell they really were touched. They really were. So another Dawntastic event. So thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Kevin. Do we have a general manager's report tonight?
Mr. President, I don't want to steal anyone's thunder this evening, but since the last council meeting, TCSD, Public Works, and many of you have thoroughly enjoyed, and I know the community has, the grand opening of the mini pump track. So I just want to say to Kevin, your team, Pat's team, you guys exploited the opportunity to do something really amazing and deliver to the community. So well done.
And when we say mini pump track, does that mean it's for little tiny bikes, or does that mean the track itself is a mini?
No, that's actually a good commercial, Mayor. We want little people on this track, right, and the big people can stay on the big track. So it's kind of their specifications. It's safer, and folks won't get hurt or get in the way. So.
See high three, that big old softball right there.
Well done. Thank you.
Imagine it's the tot lot of pump tracks, Marianne.
So, yes, that's cute.
There you go. Thank you for the general manager's report. Any other director reports tonight? Anyone else? Yes, Director Alexander.
So talking about pump tracks, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's had a hand in that, because most people know I have 5 kids, and my kids love the mini pump track. If I tell you we're out there 2 to 3 hours at a shot, at least once or twice a week. So, and I'm seeing the families come out there, and the kids are loving it, because my little kids could never go on the big pump track and they'd be fighting. So you just handled a lot of family issues for me. So I so appreciate that. And it's just beautiful. It's really beautiful. So thank you again. And I just look forward to seeing what else these parks are going to, come out with, because it's a lot of fun. If I wouldn't break a hip, I'd probably go on myself.
I'll bring my bike out for you and you can give it a try. It is quite amazing to see the community embrace it. So it's really wonderful to see. So thank you for that.
Great job. Thank you.
Great. Any other director reports this evening before we adjourn? All right. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting to our next meeting, which will be Tuesday, January 26th. We're adjourned.
All right. Thank you. And we will move on to I want to make sure I didn't skip anything. Yes. To the successor agency to the Temecula Redevelopment Agency. So could we have the roll call, please?
Yes, Director Alexander.
Here.
Director Edwards.
Here.
Director Ron.
Here.
Director Schwenk.
I'm here.
And Director Stewart.
Here.
Thank you. Any public comments?
We do not have any public comments.
All right. Then we'll go on to the SARTA consent calendar. All matters listed under consent calendar are considered to be routine, and all will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no discussion of these items unless members of the successor agency to the redevelopment agency request specific items be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Item number 10, approve minutes of December 8th. Number 11, approve recognized obligation payment schedule and administrative budget for the period of July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, ROPS 21-22. Okay.
I'll move consent.
I have a motion.
Second.
And a second. And could we have the roll call, please?
Director Alexander.
Aye.
Chair Edwards.
Aye.
Director Ron.
Aye.
Director Stewart.
Aye.
Director Schwenk.
Aye.
Okay, anything from the executive director, board of directors, anything?
Nothing further tonight, Madam Mayor.
All right, then I will move myself adjournment to the meeting of January 26th, 5:30 here at City Hall. Thank you. And turning the page, I will reconvene the Temecula City Council meeting onto business item number 12, introduce ordinance amending Temecula Municipal Code section 2.40.100, adding new commission reference. So, Randy?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'm happy to give a very brief staff report, as this is a technical housekeeping measure. On August 25th, 2020, the City Council established a new commission, the Race, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Commission. We refer to that as our READY Commission through resolution number 2020-59. Section 6 of that establishing resolution indicated that members of the Ready Commissions shall receive the same stipend as other city board and commission members. And the proposed ordinance before you tonight is a technical housekeeping measure, as mentioned, updating the municipal code to reflect the same. It is therefore recommended that the City Council go ahead and introduce said ordinance. Our illustrious City Attorney will go ahead and read the title, and adoption will occur at the second reading of the ordinance tentatively scheduled for the January 26th meeting.
All right, thank you. So before Mr. Illustrious reads the title, does anyone have a question or a comment? No? Peter, it's all yours.
Yes, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, this would be an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Temecula amending Section 2.04.100 of the Temecula Municipal Code relating to compensation for city boards and commission members.
All right, thank you. So, have a motion and a second?
Move.
Second.
All right, so now we can have roll call, please.
Yes, and Madam Mayor, for the record, there were no public comments on this item.
Oh, yes.
I'll go ahead and call the roll call vote now.
All right,
Councilmember Alexander.
Aye.
Mayor Edwards.
Aye.
Councilmember Ron.
Aye.
Councilmember Stewart.
Aye.
Councilmember Schwenk.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. So on to item 13, introduce ordinance adding chapter 2.10 to the Temecula Municipal Code regarding the filing of campaign finance disclosure statements. And I bet this is Randy again.
Yes, Madam Mayor, this is me again, another brief staff report. Assembly Bill 2151, which we'll refer to as AB 2151, went into effect on January 1st, 2021. The bill actually requires that local agencies post online within 72 hours of the filing deadline redacted copies of certain statements, such as the semi-annual and election campaign disclosure filings. It also requires that these documents be publicly available for 4 years from the date of the election associated with the filing. Currently, the City of Temecula uses NetFile for its electronic filing of statements of economic interest, our Form 700s. This system has an existing campaign disclosure filing module, which can be activated to meet the requirements of AB 2151. And additional funds are not needed, as the cost of the module, $4,800 annually, is currently included in the departmental budget of the City Clerk's office. The amendment also falls within the City Manager's contract authority. The Fair Political Practices Commission requires that the adoption of an ordinance to utilize the state-approved system. It is therefore before you tonight. It is recommended that the City Council introduce the proposed ordinance. Our still illustrious City Attorney will read the title, and adoption will occur after the second reading at the January 26th meeting.
Peter, you've gotten a promotion or something. I don't know.
I know, I'm honored. I'm honored. And I didn't lose it in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, this will be an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Temecula, California, adding chapter 2.10 to the Temecula Municipal Code regarding electronic and paper methods of filing campaign finance disclosure statements.
All right, so I need a motion and a second.
I'll move.
So moved.
Oh, I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Randy, could you please call the roll?
Yes, Madam Mayor, for the record, there were no public comments on this one either. And I'll call the roll call vote. Councilmember Alexander.
Aye.
Mayor Edwards.
Aye.
Councilmember Ron.
Aye.
Councilmember Stewart.
Aye.
And Councilmember Schwenk.
Aye.
Okay, so we are up to the annual chore, and it's a happy chore of filling all of these positions, which are above and beyond our council work that we do here, because the City Council represents the city on, I don't know, dozens of county and state and some federal agencies. And so we spread the joy around, and that's what we're going to do right now. Usually for Jessica, for your benefit, we hold these positions already, obviously. So we go down the list, and the person who has the position decides if they want to stay in that position, and often we do, but sometimes we don't. And then if we have a vacancy, like I'm looking down to down the list to the liaison of the Planning Commission, that says to be determined. So those are the ones that are vacant right now, and so to speak, up for grabs. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so gentleman and lady,
Mayor Edwards,
ma'am.
if I can just make one quick statement in addition to the comments that you have already made, that this is an annual exercise whereby council goes ahead and makes these appointments to serve for calendar year 2021. With respect to an external representative assignment for RCTC and RCA, that is the Riverside County Transportation Commission and the Western Riverside County Regional Conservation Authority. The council has the prerogative to either appoint the same person to both positions or separate individuals to both positions. They have been, both of those agents groups fall under the same agency. So we just wanted to go ahead and note that it is up to you if, again, you have the prerogative to appoint the same person to both RCTC and RCA, or two different people to one to RCTC and one to RCA.
Okay, and typically we've had two people because they were two different agencies. Now RCA, which I am the representative for and have been for, I don't know, 13 years or something. Now RCA is falling under the jurisdiction of RCTC. So we'll get down to that one in a minute. And ladies and gentlemen, excuse us, this is going to be a salad of acronyms as we go down this list. So let's start out with our commission liaisons to our own commissions. And so we got Community Services Commission, and Zach, you're up for that one. Want to stay there?
Yeah, I would certainly love to stay there.
Okay, and you want to retain the Old Town Local Review Board, or do you want to pass that on to somebody who might be new?
Yeah, I'm more than comfortable jumping off of that one.
Okay, so anybody have any interest in Old Town Local Review Board?
I think that's why I landed there last time. Because of the outcry for support for the Old Town Local Review Board.
Old Town is just it's the most wonderful place. So we need a liaison, Zach. And if I don't find somebody that's willing to jump out there, I think we're just gonna award you.
If you're doing a fantastic job, why change it, right? Just
exactly.
I'm okay staying.
Exactly. Not that we don't love you, Old Town Local Review Board. We do. Okay, we do.
Well, next, if you don't mind, if I can say something, Madam Mayor.
Sure.
Just as a insight, I know that I'm very interested in one of the other commissions, but the Old Town Local Review Board is still something that would very much interest me to be able to step into that position, and would be nice to be able to start off slowly. So Zach, if you're willing, or
Zach, this is it.
Step into that if you don't mind there, Councilmember Schwank.
No, go right ahead. That would be great. Thank you.
Yep.
And it's really good. And Old Town continues to thrive, obviously, and evolve. So you get to look at, all the planning and the approvals and things like that. So it is interesting. Okay, so who are my note takers? Randy, I know you're taking notes.
Yes, Madam Mayor. Both
your partner note taker Greg is not
yes,
here.
The city manager and the assistant city manager and I are all following along diligently.
Okay, good. Okay, so then we have Public Traffic Safety Commission, and I take that one because that's where I came from, and I love traffic safety. And then this is the big one here, the Race, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Commission. And I think I'm safe in saying that every one of us would like to be, I know Stu, every one of us would like to be involved in this one.
And Madam Mayor, we still have Planning Commission as well.
Okay. Oh yeah, I did. Sorry. So, okay, so we'll go back to that one. Race, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Commission. Now, Peter, we only going to appoint one person. Can we appoint two people?
Yeah, I guess you could appoint two people. In the past, you've only appointed one to the actual city commissions, but I'm not aware of anything that would preclude you from appointing two.
The reason I asked is because this commission is undertaking a huge task, especially in the first year. And I'm kind of thinking that maybe this should be something that has the mayor and the mayor pro tem working with these commission members. And that would change, whoever the mayor is and the mayor pro tem, if we want to leave it at that, it would change with whoever those people are that are filling those seats. So they've got a big task. It's a new commission. They don't know each other, and they're going to be working with staff, which is phenomenal. But I'm kind of thinking just to give them that leadership and let them know that they have our support. And by having you know, I didn't even ask you, Matt. I just kind of threw you in there.
Yeah, well, I brought this forward as part of what the work we're doing with the National League and others.
Yeah.
And so, anything I can do to help, with the rollout of this, at least in its first year.
Yeah, I think that's primarily the reason. It's going to be very exciting, and I think we're going to see a lot of resident involvement, which I think is really good. And that was the point of this whole thing. So, council members, are you willing to acquiesce for this first year and then see how it goes and just kind of pass the torch? I know, Stu, I see your disappointment. I'm sorry. No comments. They're stunned. They're absolutely stunned in silence.
If that's what you want, you're mayor prerogative, I think.
Well, no, it isn't. It isn't really. I mean, this is just it's like any other vacancy, but I'm just expressing the reason I think that would be a good choice just for their first year.
Well,
yes,
I'm good.
no?
I'm good with that. I don't know if we need to.
So,
yeah,
I'd like to get. I mean, I want to get consensus. We don't want to. We don't want to just steamroll over anybody. But
no, I will chime in. I don't really think there was an issue with it. It certainly, this has a new commission is going to need a little bit of extra attention, and I don't necessarily have a problem with that at all.
And knowing that any of us can, go to some of the meetings. We don't typically go to commission meetings, but I think this one is one where we might make an exception because it is new, and I think they're going to have great participation. So I think I'd like.
Madam Mayor, if I might, you do need to be careful with if three of you cannot go to that commission meeting.
Correct. So we have to watch out for Brown Act, but three. But sometimes, as we get farther down the road. I think if you want to drop in, and you can work with the city manager, and he'll know if anybody else is going. So Zach.
Yeah, so I was sort of going to bring that up, and our city attorney did, but these meetings are now broadcast online, right? So all of our commission meetings, new for this year, are broadcast in the same manner that our city council meetings are. So this is a really, really great opportunity for the public and council as well. Now we can watch it and we just can't participate in the meeting, and we certainly can't be talking back and forth to each other.
Oh no.
There's certainly a way for all of us, whether you're not the liaison to it, to be involved in what's going on in these commissions. So
yeah, and you can, we can interact with the commissioners too. One-on-one. You can call and have conversations with them. We do want to make sure that they remain independent. The city council, that was a goal also, but they know that we're there to support them. So I think that's important. So if that's okay with everyone, I'm going to put mayor and pro tem, and then that will change every year when mayor and mayor pro tem change. Okay. We've got the Arts and Cultural Affairs Subcommittee. So
planning.
I got to go back to planning. I'm sorry. I mean, the reason I keep skipping it is because I put Jessica next to the planning commission. Okay, so we've got planning. So we've got Zach on community service and Old Town Local Review Board, and I'm on, Jessica's on Old Town Local Review Board. I am on traffic and safety, Mayor Pro Tem on equity, and so now we're looking back at planning. Planning's usually a really popular one.
I'd like to nominate Stu for that one.
Yeah. Congratulations.
I'm interested in it. That way we're all represented on the boards and commissions.
Yeah, and I think that's good.
I know you did a good job with it.
Okay, Stu. All right, now we're going to move on to the Arts and Cultural Affairs Subcommittee. And right now it's Edwards and Swank, and I don't see any reason to change. Anybody? Nope.
I'd love to stay on. We're bringing some good stuff forward this next year, so I'd love to stay on.
Okay, then we have City Sustainability Program Subcommittee. And right now that's Matt. Matt, you want to tell everybody what that is exactly?
Yeah, I mean, so we have the quality of life master plan, number of initiatives that have gone through the city. And so this one brings together a whole lot of issues, whether it's, talking about energy programs or, yeah. So, it's a fairly nimble committee and it's sort of a catch-all for a lot of different things that happen in the city, but it's been a great one to serve on.
And important things. It's an important one.
Agree. Yeah. And so I'd be happy to continue serving, but I definitely want somebody else to join me there.
Okay. Anybody want to, Stu, you got your hand up again?
I was going to say, Stu, didn't we do this before? I think we were on it before with
Were you there before?
And all that, right?
Okay.
So it'd be great to get you back on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then we have e-government and Temecula outreach subcommittee, and that is Zach and I. Economic development subcommittee, that is yours truly, and we need to fill that one. That one takes under any initiative that the city is doing towards economic development. We work with our Visit Temecula Valley, work with the chamber, anything that deals with economic development. And Christine does a fabulous job, Betsy. So anybody want to be on that one with me? It's interesting.
I'll do it.
Okay. Stu, I'm seeing your name a lot already on here.
What?
Okay, we've got the Old Town Steering Committee, and is there value in having the Old Town Local Review Board person be on the Old Town Steering Committee?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
100%.
I'll take that one.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Oh, it's a fun one.
Yes. Yeah, I would think so. Here's another fun one, finance.
I'd like to join. I know that's, oh man, finance. Don't get me started. It's so exciting. I really want to,
Jennifer, she does such a good
Absolutely.
job. Okay, Matt, so.
I know I'm
thank
fighting
you.
everybody off for this one.
I'm gonna
so.
say.
Okay, let's see. Then we've got Infrastructure Beautification Committee. And that one has to do with, we meet for things like all of the beautification that's going to take place on our freeway on and off ramps, all the landscaping around there. We reviewed all the monuments things along Temecula Parkway. It's a brick thing that says City of Temecula on it. And then there are big, flower pots sticking up, anything that the beautifications the city. It's a fun one, actually. Jess, you want to be on that one?
Me? No,
Yeah.
you don't want me to be on that one.
All right. Well, I can come back to it if you want.
Well, I'll do it if no one wants to do it. I'm into all that.
Well, Zach is on there already. Are you bowing out?
Sure, I don't have a problem jumping off. I think, the important thing is that we split the duties, right? Like there's a lot going on in the city. So
yeah,
I'd be happy to let Councilmember Stewart jump on that, or Councilmember Alexander, whoever wants it.
The fun one about this is that you get to see all the beautiful plans before anybody else does, and that's kind of fun. Okay, so Stu, Jessica, are you fighting over it, or I got a thumbs up from Stu, and Jessica decided she's not in the beautification business. Okay. Joint City Council and TVUSD subcommittee, and I don't think I can be on that one.
Yeah, I'd like to, Zach, we kind of, that's a new one, right? And we've only had really a couple of meetings with the school district, and then
that's actually a really old one. I mean, it started, but yes,
but we kind of took a different kind of a different direction with it this year, I think, or this past year. But then things got a little derailed. But there was some really good stuff that came out of it, like the Wi-Fi gardens and other things too, and some of our just breaking down some of the communication barriers with the school district and getting more engaged in policy issues between the two of us.
Well, and with all the changes that are going on with COVID, and school districts all over the country are probably going to have part virtual and part regular schools. So we'll see what that's going to do with facilities. They're always looking for joint use, more playing fields for sports. So you guys want to stay on that one then?
Yes, please.
Okay, then I've got the military subcommittee. Yeah, I was hoping for that. Okay.
I'd like to, I'd be happy to step down from the military subcommittee and
Okay,
get.
so Jess, you're on that one. Anybody else? Zach?
I would like to stay on unless someone else really wants it.
Okay, I still got you on there. That leaves Stu.
Well, I thought Jessica and Zach is on it.
No, oh, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah.
How quickly I forget.
Right.
Okay, so I've got that one. This one, I love this one. The Move I-15 through Temecula Valley Subcommittee. And ladies and gentlemen, I would like to be on that one just because I've had some experience in this, in working through traffic and safety, and also I've worked with Caltrans on other projects. So Matt, you're staying on that, right?
Yeah, I'd like to keep the progress. We lost a little bit of traction this last year, just given everything. But part of our obligation was to bring back initiatives in partnership with all the other cities that helped us with the first $50 million grant we received. So
yes.
I think we need to revitalize that and get the I-15 moving.
Yeah. Is everybody okay with that one?
Yes.
All right, then we've got the Murrieta Temecula Subcommittee, and I'm on that one. And it's interesting. I don't know that there's anything pending, but if I keep complaining to them about opening Diaz Road, then maybe there will be something pending. Anybody want to go with me?
I'll jump on.
It's a good one.
I'll jump on.
Okay. Then we got the Parks and Recreation and Community Service Subcommittee, Zach, and then Matt. Matt, you're on there too.
Yeah, I'd be happy to if Jessica, absolutely. I'd be happy to.
Parks and Rec?
Yeah, that's my area. I love it.
Good. Okay.
Perfect. I was hoping you'd say that.
Thank you, Ron.
Then we got Public Works. That Matt, that's you and I. They're always busy. You want to stay on?
That's a fun one. It's as exciting as finance.
Now, don't you're gonna hurt Pat's feelings now.
I'm not. I'm saying finance and public works. Those are my two favorites. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Then we've got the Southwest Cities Coalition Subcommittee. Now, Southwest Cities Coalition was the affiliation or the coalition of all the cities up and down the 15 freeway, and I think we went on up to Menifee. So I don't. Aaron, do you think we still need this one? I guess if they're not specifically.
I think it's safe to put a subcommittee together in the event that we have a need to use it. If there isn't a need, then you won't have any obligations.
Okay. So in that case, Zach, that is you and it's me. So let's just leave it at that.
I was going to suggest I would step off if there was someone that wanted that role, but if no one wants it, I'll happily stay.
Okay. Did you meet? We didn't meet that I know of.
I don't recall meeting on this.
Nuh-uh. So I think we're pretty safe if nobody else wants it.
Okay.
Then I've got the Animal Shelter, JPA, and I was actually the chairman of that commission seemed like for years until we finally got that animal shelter built. But it's a really good one. It's working with animal friends, and they do so much good for us. So, Zach, you're on there. You want to stay?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind staying. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but if someone really wants it, we could certainly discuss it.
Anybody? Once? Twice? Okay. Then I've got League of California Cities voting delegate, and that's Matt and Zach. Right? Yes. And then National League voting delegates. So, yeah, Matt and Zach again. So that one will stay. Pechanga Tribal Council representative. I have worked with the tribe on so many occasions. I would like to take this one actually. Is that okay?
Great.
Sounds good.
Then we've got Rancho California Water District liaison. Stu, why don't you on that one?
Stu,
yeah, I was going to say.
Would you like this one back? I'd be happy to move aside.
I would.
Thank you.
It's such an active committee. It's like finance.
Right.
Now you guys but Jennifer, I'm sorry, Jennifer, if you're watching, we love finance. Read my lips. We
really
love
do.
finance.
I'm not joking. That is my favorite.
What I said, let it begin with me.
Yeah.
So see. All right. Water districts too. Okay, so Stu and Stu and Zach. Southwest Riverside County Energy Authority. And I am on that one. And Zach, you want to stay on that one?
I would love to stay on that one.
Okay. And then Temecula Sister City Liaison. And Zach, you want to stay on that one?
I would like to stay on that one another year.
Okay. So I see RCA is crossed out because we moved it down. So let's go right down to Riverside County Habitat Conservation Agency. And I'm on that one, and I think the reason I am is because it's the kangaroo rat, and we're trying to delist it right now. So that's okay with me. And I work on RCA too, which is the MSHCP. It's the plan that supports MSHCP and the purchasing of land where all the kangaroo rats live. So Zach, you want to stay on RCHCA?
As the alternate?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Then we've got Riverside County Transportation Commission, and I love this one. I love this one.
I'd like to do that one if you don't mind, just because of the I-15 corridor piece.
Well, I think, RCTC. The only reason I was going to do it, Matt, was because of RCA. RCA being directly under RCTC now, and I kind of, especially for the first year, I kind of wanted to see how that was going to work. I'm still not quite sure how that's going to work, but if you let me,
Madam Mayor.
Sir.
Oh, go ahead, Aaron.
If I could, I did have a conversation with Executive Director and Mayor this afternoon, because I had some of the same questions that you did just now about how this merge of RCA and RCTC was going to work. And so she enlightened me that she will remain the executive director of both agencies. She has kept some of the staff from RCA. They'll be supporting her in this effort, but the boards themselves will remain autonomous and separate and distinct. There'll eventually be probably a deputy district or a deputy director that will be responsible for the RCA board and supporting that board, and Anne very much will be focused on RCTC. But so as Randy mentioned on the front end, we can handle this assignment one of two ways. Matt could be the representative for both, or one of you can split it up if you choose to.
Well, I love RCA just because I've been on it for so long.
Well, and I'd like to keep you on the RCA and RCHCA, of course, obviously, because those two are so closely affiliated. But I'd like to, just my own perspective on it was, my concern was when, kind of like when WRCOG subsumed, RCHCA, I want to see if we can keep at least for us internally, keep those two things separate, because I think they need to, even though it's under the same agency, the RCA still deserves its own place.
Oh, it has to.
It has to, right? And so
it has nothing to do with anything RCTC does, really.
Yeah, and so I'd like to see it have, if I had my way, I'd make sure that all the membership was different across those two boards, because, at least as much as possible, because it just seems to me, at least in the first year of its rollout, we have to make.
I don't see it. I mean, I don't know how it's going to work exactly, but let's keep an eye on it. You want to take RCTC?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, I'd appreciate it.
I was really going to try for that one too, but I'll give it to you. I'll concede. So.
No problem.
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem Edwards, I want to be clear that I get this right. So for RCA, we're going to have you as the primary, and is Councilmember Schwenk going to stay the alternate? You want us to alternate on RCA, Zach?
Please keep him.
It's a good one.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, you're always solid on these external meetings, so sometimes an alternate is you don't ever have to fill in. So, but I can certainly fill in if you need me to.
Well, you should come with me at least once or twice.
Okay.
We can.
I'll see you on the Zoom.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I want to be clear on RCTC.
Matt.
Councilmember Ron is the primary, and you are the alternate.
Sure. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Here's another one of my favorites that I know I'm not going to get back. Riverside Transit Agency. So Zach loves that one.
Yeah, and full disclosure, I was just elected first vice chair of the board
Congratulations.
this year. So I certainly would be honored to be our representative at RTA again this year.
It's a great agency. It really is well run. So I can stay as your alternate though.
That sounds fantastic.
If you like would happen to like, oh, I don't know, trip down the stairs or, you know, some break an ankle or something.
Yeah.
Then we have WRCOG, and that is yours truly.
I want it.
No, Stu, no.
I was just making traction on that.
I would be happy to give up the alternate space, Stu, if you want to step into that role.
And there may be some time that I can't go, depending on what you know, my workload is at district. So, okay, want to pencil you in?
I guess.
That's an interesting one, actually. Okay, so now we have the Altair Property Ad Hoc Subcommittee, and I have a kind of some feelings about this one because of, you know, this has been such a long running project, and they've had such a tough time, and they dealt directly with RCA, so I was on both, you know, both ends of that. I'd kind of like to serve with Matt on the Altair Property
yeah, definitely. Like we've you know settled the lawsuit and we've made some huge strides, but yeah, and you've got the long-term history on the property and all that, and there's still the you know, talk about the you know, municipal pad or the, you know, 55 acres there and all that. We're gonna have to deal with all of that this year, so yeah, absolutely.
And I know all about the, you know, everything, quarters and all that. Okay, so we have the Community Service Funding Ad Hoc Committee, and I don't mind doing that one. I like that one because I know all the nonprofits. Zach, you want to stay on that one with me?
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. I'd love to stay on it.
Okay. Jesse, did you want to serve on the? Well, of course you do. There's an issue with that.
Oh, as far as the community service one?
Yeah, because
that would be a good one for me. I'll be honest with you. I'd be pretty solid in that one.
Except you work for an agency that might, you know, if they apply for funding, she could abstain and still participate, right, Peter?
That's true. They would have to take the funding for her organization first, so she's not controlling the amount of funds that are left. But there is a procedure for dealing with that.
Okay. So do you want to do that? I'll.
That would be great. I so appreciate that, Madam Mayor.
It's a really good one, and you'll get to meet all the other nonprofits, and there are some fabulous ones.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Okay, so then we got the Diaz Road property, and I can take that one with Matt too because I've been here the whole time, even through the berry shrimp thing. Okay. And French Valley Parkway Interchange Ad Hoc Subcommittee.
I'll just chime in on that one, Marianne. I think that should be you and I if we're going to be on the
the I-15,
yeah, and the RCTC. I think just for continuity between, you know, all of those efforts.
Okay. Then we got the General Plan Update Ad Hoc Subcommittee, and I think we were on there because we had the longest, because of the history, because we had the longest history. So you know, I'd like to keep that one.
I'd be interested in that, Madam Mayor. If either of you are willing to step off, I'd certainly love to fill in that role, but totally understand if you don't.
I'm trying to think what's going to go on.
Aaron or well, yeah, probably Aaron. Can you give us just a quick what the agenda would look like for this year?
For general plan?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a very busy year. You know, we're wrapping up sort of the housing element, which is kind of part of that. We're going to be kicking off the other elements of the general plan. We're going to be working closely with not just the subcommittee, but the subcommittee will be a lead role, but all 5 of you are going to be involved in briefings all year long as I foresee it, because it's just too important of a project
to you know, so I mean, while Marianne and I are on the committee, you're meeting with everybody else on every phase of this. So, you know, just separately. So,
right.
So, you know, I don't mind, you know, serving on the subcommittee with Marianne again, but just recognize that we're all actually being briefed, and part of, you know, every meeting we have, basically everybody else is going to have anyway.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a good point that you bring that up. And Madam Mayor, if I may, for just 1 second, I think it's important that when we're looking at a lot of these subcommittees, right, there's a lot of important things that happen, and making sure that every council member is prepared. So Mr. City Manager, I know this one specifically well, but maybe there's some other ones too, where we can get that sort of same brief that the subcommittee gets on some of these bigger ones, that they're really taking that big chunk off of. Just some food for thought moving forward on how we do some of these subcommittees.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, absolutely. And if any council member, anytime, any day has a question with respect to anything, you don't have to be on a subcommittee to ask a question of me or my team, and we'll make sure that the briefings are occurring if we haven't already done it.
Yeah, and you do a good job. I mean, with your daily briefings too.
Yeah,
Everybody loves subcommittee stuff. So, I mean, that's where I get that, and we followed up on a few items that I've seen over the years that spark an interest. So,
okay, so that one stays. Then we've got the higher ed ad hoc subcommittee, and because of my work with Cal State San Marcos on the advisory board, or on the foundation board, I would like to take that one. And I don't know that it's going to be a big year because we've got MSJC, they're going to try and open, and they're trying to partner with other universities, not just local ones, but from across the country. So this one could be really important, and it's a major economic development tool also. So I mean, I'd like to be on that one with you, Matt, if everybody thinks that's okay. I'm writing it down anyway.
All right. No, I'd love to have you. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we've got the hospital ad hoc subcommittee, and we know they're going through that renovation or the addition right now, and it's looking really good. It's gone up very fast. I kind of like to take that one too, if everybody's okay.
That's a real fun one. Really good.
Is it as fun as finance?
No, it's a close neck and neck.
Close, very close. Okay. All right, then we have the Human Services Ad Hoc Subcommittee. Does that have anything to do with like what we're talking about for the Ready Commission?
I'd like to do that one if possible. That's working with special needs, homeless, senior citizens, and mental health awareness.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be a good one for you too, actually. That would be a good one. Okay. Got it. And I can certainly see where the Ready Commission, may become aware of some things that would loop in the Human Services Ad Hoc Subcommittee. Okay, so we got the Infill Land Use and Project Review Ad Hoc Subcommittee. How many more places do we have left, Aaron? Not many.
We actually use this subcommittee quite a bit. From time to time when we want to, Luke's team or Pat's team, we want to get together and we want to meet with the developer on an infill project and discuss challenges or opportunities. So it gets used quite a bit.
Well, then I'd like to do that one just because of the, I was nothing here when we moved, and now you see what Temecula looks like. So I'm very familiar with, how we got to where we are today. So if everybody's okay with it, I would like to take the infill. Is that okay?
Good with me.
Okay. Here's another fun one. Luxury car dealerships ad hoc subcommittee. And so Matt and I are on that one. And have you noticed those new cars that we're driving? I'm kidding. Margarita Recreation Center. That one's going to be really fun too. Zach, you're on that, of course.
Yeah, I'd love to stay on that.
Jess, you want that one? That'd be a good one for you.
Did you know I was going to raise my hand for that one?
That would be a really good one. And it's going to be fun too. Murrieta Creek Project. I kind of started that one, but I'm off now. So you want to leave it Ron and Schwenk? Then we've got Old Town Civic Center Ad Hoc Subcommittee. Not to be confused.
Yep, I'll hit that one up too.
Okay, good.
Put them all together.
And if anyone else wants on, I'd be more than happy to step off to give some other folks some different
Stu,
roles.
what about you on that one?
I'll do it.
That's actually a good
team
one.
up.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Then moving on, Promenade in Temecula Ad Hoc Subcommittee. I think that one can stay the way it is. Public Safety Ad Hoc Subcommittee. So Matt, because of your work with CAL FIRE and because I'm the traffic and safety person, probably. Roarpaw Ranch, that one is still busy. So we've got Zach and Edwards. Are we okay? Zach, are you okay staying on there?
I'm happy staying on that one. Sure.
Okay. Then we got service level assessments, and you need to be on that one. Matt, you want to stay on that one?
I'm happy to jump off that one if somebody's got a
Okay.
desire.
Yeah, I'll do it.
That one, actually, that would be good for you too. Because you have expertise in housing. And then come to the next one. Do we still need the STRs on here, Aaron?
Yes,
we
we
want to
do.
get back on that one with me. That was so much fun. Come
Yeah.
on, Stu. Let's do it.
Zach, you staying on that one?
Yeah, I probably envision down the road we're going to have some conversations again. So certainly.
Okay. Strategic Fiscal Planning Ad Hoc Subcommittee. So it's Matt and I. Supportive Housing Services. Okay, Matt, that's you. Jess?
I'm going to pass on that one.
Okay.
I'd like to
I
see
would
Zach
actually like
on
to
that
be
one,
on that one.
actually, because
Wait, I got two. Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead, Matt.
I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt Jessica.
No, I was just saying I'm going to pass on that one.
She said pass. So that leaves, well, Matt, you want to get off that one?
No, I was saying I'd like to see if Zach could join me on that one. We've had a couple conversations about some of that recently.
Okay.
Yeah,
sure.
I would. Thank you. I would love to join you on that.
Okay. Good. Trails, open space. That kind of goes along with community services. And, Matt, you all know all about trails and things.
How about Matt as I was, I guess Matt, I'm definitely in for that. I'm a big hiker, so.
Let's get you on it. It's a good one.
All right.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I think we need some fresh blood there.
Sounds good.
Oh, between your hiking and Zach's biking, you're gonna make us all look so bad.
They don't call us Hike Bike Temecula for nothing.
Yeah. Then we got TBE2, which is a small business incubator. So we're gonna leave that at Matt and Zach.
Stu,
Yeah.
I was hoping, Stu, you did a great job with that one.
Put down, Stu?
Yeah, I'd be happy to step aside on that one.
Okay. See, I can't remember when there's a blank. I can't remember. Okay, then we've got Uptown Temecula Ad Hoc Subcommittee. I'd like to do that one also, if everybody's okay with that.
I'm fine with that.
That one's, it'll take off slowly, but when it takes off, I think it's going to take off. Then we have the Wall of Honor, and you all know what the Wall of Honor is. There's a plaque out in the hallway outside the council chambers, and from time to time, the city council will nominate someone who they think, whose community services has gone above and beyond. So it's a really good one. Anybody want to be? Jess, you want to be on there with me? Stu? You want to be on the Wall of Honor?
Jess, do you want it?
Don't want it? I'll that's fine. Throw me on. That actually was highlighted. So.
Is that a yes or a no?
That's a yes. Put me down.
Okay. And then Winchester Hills Ad Hoc Subcommittee. Matt's on that one.
I'd like to join Councilmember Ron on that if I could.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Madam Mayor?
Ma'am?
If it is okay with you, I would just like to quickly read down this list.
Yes, I can't read my own writing, so yes.
Just to make sure, and I welcome any interruptions from the city manager, assistant city manager, or any member of the council as I start reading.
You don't think Mr. Butler's at home taking these notes?
No, that's why I mentioned he's right there waving in his office upstairs.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. Again, please just shout out if you have something different. Community Services Commission, Schwank. Old Town Local Review Board, Alexander. Planning Commission, Stewart. Public Traffic Safety Commission, Edwards. Race, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Commission, Edwards and Ron. Arts and Cultural Affairs, Edwards, Schwank. City Sustainability, Ron, Stewart. E-Government, Edwards, Schwank. Economic Development, Edwards, Stewart. Old Town Steering Committee, Alexander, Schwank. Finance, Edwards, Ron. Infrastructure Beautification, Edwards, Stewart. Joint City Council, TBUSD, Ron, Schwank. Military Subcommittee, Schwank, Alexander. Move I-15, Edwards, Ron. Murrieta, Temecula, Edwards, Alexander. Parks and Recreation, Schwank, Alexander. Public Works Subcommittee, Edwards, Ron. Southwest City, Edwards, Schwank. Animal Shelter, Schwank. League of California Cities, Ron, primary, alternate, Schwank. National League, Ron, primary, alternate, Schwank. Pachanga, Edwards. Rancho California Water District, Stewart. Southwest Riverside County Energy Authority, Edwards and Schwank. Sister City, Schwank. RCA, Edwards, primary, Schwank, alternate. RCHCA, Edwards, primary, alternate, Schwank. RCTC, Ron, primary, Edwards, secondary. RTA, Schwank, primary, Edwards, alternate. WRCOG, Edwards, primary, Stewart, alternate. Altair, Edwards, Ron. Community Service Funding, Alexander, Schwank. Diaz Property, Edwards, Ron. French Valley, Edwards, Ron. General Plan, Edwards, Ron. Higher Education, Edwards, Ron. Hospital Ad Hoc, Edwards, Ron. Human Services, Edwards, Alexander. Infill, Edwards, Ron. Luxury Dealership, Edwards, Ron. Margarita Rec Center, Alexander, Schwank. Murrieta Creek Project, Ron, Schwank. Old Town Civic Center, Alexander, Stewart. Promenade, Edward, Schwank. Public Safety, Ron, Edwards. Royal Paw Ranch, Edward, Schwank. Service Level Assessments, Stewart, Schwank. Short-Term Vacation Rentals, Ron, Schwank. Strategic Fiscal Planning, Edwards, Ron. Supportive Housing, Schwank, Ron. Trails and Open Space, Alexander, Schwank. Business Incubator, Stewart, Schwank. Uptown Temecula, Edwards, Ron. Wall of Honor, Edwards, Alexander. And Winchester Hills, Schwank and Ron. If that is correct, staff respectfully request the motion.
Okay. So need Aaron, did you wave your hand or you just, no? Okay. Okay. So I need a motion.
I'll move the item.
Okay. And?
Second.
Our motion is second. And could we call the roll, please?
Yes. Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Mayor Edwards?
Aye.
Councilmember Ron?
Aye.
Councilmember Stewart?
Aye.
And Councilmember Schwank.
Aye.
Okay. Item number 15 is consider and provide direction regarding vacancy on Public Traffic Safety Commission. So who's going to do, we just need a brief explanation. Randy?
Yes.
Okay.
As well, Mayor Edwards, on December 29th, 2020, newly appointed Commissioner David Lewis resigned from the Public Traffic Safety Commission effective immediately. Mr. Lewis was appointed to the commission in November 2020. Resolution number 1962 permits the City Council at its own discretion to consider vacancies jointly when they occur within 60 days of one another. So at this time, the City Council has the ability to go ahead and appoint an applicant from the November 2020 Public Traffic Safety Pool if it desires, or it could give us direction to go ahead and advertise, recruit, and select a new. And with that, we recommend that you give us direction regarding the same.
Okay. Let me throw this out on the table and then we'll run around it and see. At the time that we appointed the new commissioner, there was another person, and we all said the same thing. We wish that there had been two seats because he was so great that we thought he deserved to be in a seat. And that was David Maddox. I don't know if y'all remember that, but
I agree.
yeah.
It's really interesting that we all sort of feel that way.
Oh, you did? Oh my gosh.
Agree.
If we could just do that. I don't know, the other members' familiarity, but yeah, I mean, he was, it was struggle for us because of exactly what you said. We wish there were two seats open, and love to be able to make that happen if we can here tonight.
Yeah, it was really good.
If I recall correctly, Madam Mayor, you said, David, there will be a time for you. And I thought, oh, now's David's time. So
yeah, and
very exciting.
That is remarkable because it's rare that a commissioner would, resign after that short period of time. So I hope everything's okay, number one. But I love the fact that this makes a place for David. I've known him since he was a year old. Know the family, and he follows the city council and he studies. He's very, very good. So, and for Jess, could we get a copy of his? We'll go ahead and vote, but we'll get you a copy, Jess, of his application.
I looked at all the applications and
okay.
I looked at all and watched the interview process as well. So I went through everybody's and got that done too.
Yeah. So I don't know if we have a consensus.
The only thing I would like to just put out there is it sounds like everybody's good to go with him. You guys know him pretty well, but I would like to just note Mark Letourneau. He was definitely another good, strong candidate, very active in the community, obviously wanting to go for the Traffic Safety Commission, volunteer worker, VFW, board member, just seemed to be really engaged in being here for 20 years. He definitely, he was somebody I was very interested in looking at.
And did you know him anyway, or just from that?
No, again, this is, I know that's the nice thing is, this other gentleman, it seems like personally, but he really stuck out to me above everybody that I had seen. So I was really appreciative of that. And there was something about him I liked. I don't know if it was his speech, and then looking over his past history was just really confirming.
I think I remember him. We had some great candidates.
They seemed all really great. They really did.
Really good. Well, the good thing is that when this happens, we seem to kind of remember the names, even though, it can be a while, but we seem to remember the names. And if he is involved in the city, our paths will cross again. So that's very nice of you to do that. So do I have a motion and a second for David?
I'll move that we appoint David Maddox to the Public Traffic Safety Commission.
Okay. I have a motion and
I'll second.
Okay, and a motion and a second. And could we have roll call, please?
Yes. Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Mayor Edwards?
Aye.
Councilmember Ron?
Aye.
Councilmember Stewart?
Aye.
Councilmember Schweik?
Aye.
I wonder if he even knows.
Oh, he knows.
I wonder if he even
he's watching, I'm sure.
Okay, well, good. Congratulations then, David. Okay, on to departmental reports for receive and file. So I've got police department down here.
Madam Mayor, that's just a receive and file this evening.
But I see, you know what? I try to do that receive and file every time. So we're then in that case.
Madam Mayor, if I might interrupt.
Yes.
David Maddox is one of the attendees to this evening's meeting, so he is well aware of your appointment, and he raised his hand to acknowledge his appreciation.
Oh, okay, that's good. Excellent. Okay, so on to commission reports.
And actually, Mayor Edwards, we did want to point out under commission reports, we have the Community Services Commission, Old Town Local Review Board. Both Community Services Commission and the Old Town Local Review Board met yesterday. And then, of course, Planning Commission will always be under your commission reports because Planning Commission is our only advisory commission that meets twice a month. Everybody else meets once a month, or Old Town Local Review Board as called. So tonight you will be hearing from those three.
Excellent. So community services.
Good evening again.
Hi, Eric.
Council member, staff, and colleagues, I'm pleased to be able to report on behalf of the Community Services Commission. As you heard, last night was our first meeting of the year, held via Zoom, of course. And one of the highlights was the swearing in of a new commissioner, Kathy Sizemore. I would also like to thank our former commissioner, Dale Borgeson, for his years of service to the city.
Great guy.
On to our slide, 3 quick notes. First, you are always welcome to celebrate the history and heritage of the cultures of Temecula. The second Saturday of the year is Costa Rica, and that's set for February 13th. Visit TemeculaValleyMuseum.org for historical and cultural facts, activities, recipes, and art. Next, we are also excited to present a month-long virtual celebration of American Black history. Every week in the month of February, we will highlight various disciplines in the arts with stimulating content, live virtual performances on our social media pages, and links to music, history, culture, food, and art. And lastly, a new year is always the right time to get your body moving. Our outdoor fitness classes offer a variety of activities for all skill levels. There's something for everyone. Get outside, get some exercise, and have fun in 2021. Please note our classes adhere to current state and health and safety mandates. Easy for me to say. This concludes my report, and I'm happy to field any questions.
All right. Any questions, comments? Thank you, Eric. Okay, let's go on to Old Town Local Review Board. Going once. Going twice.
I don't see a panel.
I don't see any.
Yeah, I don't see them either. But I thought maybe they were down below the bottom of my page. Okay, then we can move on to the Planning Commission.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Our first meeting was last Wednesday. Appointed a new chair, vice chair, so that's why I'm here.
Congratulations.
I'd like to welcome Council Member Stewart as our new representative. It'd be nice if you attended a meeting once or twice for us. Give us any input that you have, it'd be appreciated. We did pass planning application 18-0661, which was a development plan to allow for construction of 321 unit single family residential community built on 27.86 acres, consisting of detached homes and attached townhomes, and PA 18-0662, tentative track map for the creation of 111 single family residential lots, 31 condominium lots, and 9 open spaces. This project is located at Date and Inez. It's a very well put together project. It was passed unanimously by the commission. It's affordable housing. It's in a great location, a lot of amenities. And so like I said, it passed unanimously. And sorry I don't have any wonderful graphics like other commissions have, but maybe you can talk to our director about doing that.
Yeah. That or we'll get you some crayons and some paper for next time, maybe.
I did that. You want to see them? No, you don't.
You got doodles? Probably
no,
not.
I got doodles.
Probably not.
I know Luke will take care of you, Commissioner Guerrero.
Yeah, sure you will, Zach. Thanks.
Okay, so public safety report. Chief, are you here? I see you.
Yes, ma'am, I am. I do not have video. Hello, Mayor, Council, and staff. I want to give you guys some stats from the fire department. We've gotten considerably busier since November, and in December, you'll see we ran 834 calls, 21 fires, and we're roughly up 200 calls for the year. That closes out 2020. We'll see what January brings as far as our call stats and where we sit. I'm happy to break these down for the year as far as total calls for 2020 for the fire department, if you would wish. I'd also like to share rounding out December 2020 for the year for our prevention staff for plan review and inspections. You can go to the next slide. Plan review for December, 310. Construction inspections, 232. And annual inspections, 498.
Wow.
And you can see the year to date in the other column there. Annual inspections, 5,646. So
that's amazing.
The staff has been doing an excellent job in keeping up in the city and keeping the city running as far as construction with our plan reviews and annual inspections. So my hat's off to them.
That's incredible, Chief. And when we undertook all the new inspections to get caught up, it was just mind-boggling. And I thought, this is going to take years. I am stunned at how quickly that you have managed to get this done. And kudos and a special appreciation and thanks to the team. That is amazing. So,
can I ask a quick question?
Sure, Mike. Go ahead, Matt.
Just a quick one. At the end of well, now I'm blanking on when we actually did it, but we had passed the false alarm ordinance a little bit ago, and then there was going to be a reporting back on how the numbers had changed and so forth. And I don't think 2020 maybe is the best metric to use for the false alarm ordinance rolled out and might have changed things. But I'm still seeing some numbers there. But I'm not seeing in the last few reports the numbers that we used to have. So I was just wondering a couple of things, and I'm directing this maybe to City Manager and Chief Crater and Captain Hall as well, is just maybe would it be possible to come back with in a future meeting just a quick back of the envelope sort of calculation on what happened in 2020 after the ordinance kicked in, just to see if there is any success. But I know we had sort of written in there a full sort of analysis of that, but I just don't think we're there at this time.
Council.
I could answer.
Go ahead, Chief.
Sorry, City Manager. I could answer for the fire department. We have seen a reduction, and the whole reason this ordinance was put into place was education. It wasn't punitive. We have handed out a couple of citations to offenders, but most of the businesses that we were going to constantly have fixed their systems, so we're not going there.
Good.
So it was an education aspect, and I think we're getting that out. And I think having the ordinance has helped us reduce our false alarms. When you see false alarms 90, those could be for somebody calling 911 and then canceling us for a medical problem. But the main thing you want to look at is the ringing alarms, and we're down to 7. We were up quite a bit on that number, and it has reduced, and it has helped us not run those calls. And if we do get dispatched, we're getting canceled before we even leave the station because the alarm company realizes that there is an ordinance in the city, so it has curtailed that. So I will get back to you over the last, when we enacted it to date.
Yeah, I think you've answered my question. Maybe Aaron, if you could just reach out to Captain Hall. I mean, thanks for that, Chief. Appreciate that, because that's exactly what I was kind of curious about. If maybe we could just get Captain Hall at the next meeting when the PD report is provided, just to kind of give their perspective on that, because that's really all I was interested in is this actually doing what we had hoped it would, and it sounds like it is. So thank you for that.
Yeah, that's really good. We had thousands and thousands of false alarms. So that's really good.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. City Manager, anything?
Nothing further tonight, Madam Mayor.
Right. The illustrious Mr. Peter Thorson?
I have nothing more tonight, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Then I will take a motion in a second for adjournment.
Move adjournment.
That was very timid. And a second?
Second.
And all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Thank you.